name is John Cunningham with C2 Freight Resources. We are a Hub Zone certified logistics company here in Houston, Alabama. We've been in business for over 20 years, working with the Department of Defense and the federal government, among many other customers. C2 is committed to truckload shipments along with less than truckload shipments across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Our high level of service is what keeps our customers coming back year after year. Our industry-leading transportation management software, along with our tracking software, allow our customers to know where their shipments are at any time, any day. In closing, C2 Freight looks forward to earning your trust and business through actions day in and day out. We know if given the opportunity, you'll be pleased with our service and communication.
Richmar Florist makes every day a special day, from weddings and large events to that little something for any occasion. Richmar Florist has the perfect floral expression, and they're open online 24/7 at richmarflorist.com. Everywhere, every day. Richmar's 2 retail locations offer a fantastic selection of floral creations, gifts, and home decor. Book your free consultation in our showroom for your special event needs, and visit us online at richmarflorist.com today.
Well, it all comes down to this here in the chase for our 9 chasers. One more race to determine the championship 4 and who will go on next week at Phoenix to fight for a championship. Welcome, everyone, to the SMRI Atlanta 250. My name is Rishabh Khosla, up here in the booth with David Westergreen. David, we're in for a pretty interesting race here. Atlanta, the championship deciding race from last season. We saw Chad Frankenfield grab his first I believe his first JoinAPS Cup Series championship with the victory there. Though also, you have to take into account that Final Four group kind of fell away in an incident early on in that race. And I know certainly Tyler Fody, one of those guys who's come back and said, hey, I want to prove that Chad didn't have a handle on the field. So, David, talk to us. What are we expecting to see from this race? What can we expect to see from our chasers? We're all trying to get into the Final Four. Remember, just one driver locked in.
Yep, Tyler Fody's the only one locked into the Final Four, which means we're taking 2 on points, and there's your point situation up in the top left. You'll notice we're down to 8. Chuck Sweeting missed last week's race. I think he's also missing this week's race. I hope everything's okay with Chuck, but since he has kind of moved himself out, it's going to be down to these 8, and you'll notice that also that Ryan Gavel's name won't be scrolling across the screen today either. Really, it's down to 7 guys, and only this guy, Tyler Fody, is locked in next week at, I believe it's Phoenix for the championship race. And I think that's indicative of the season that Tyler Fody's had. He's been very strong of late, really contending for wins. This is a race he wants to win very badly, and I think we'll see this 40 car up front all day long. Atlanta suits his driving style very well with saving those tires. Tyler Fody's just going to be there all day long, and I think he's going to be one of our strongest contenders for the win.
Well, you say that, but 16th place qualifying is the best that this 40 car can do right now, so not at all what he was looking for in terms of getting himself underway. Right now, Hank Steinmiller, the fastest guy running on the racetrack as it stands, currently sitting in the 3rd position. Your defending race winner and champion Chad Frankenfield goes up to P7 as qualifying ends here, so a pretty interesting field as we're about to go through it here, and let's roll through the starting grid for this SMRI Atlanta 250, and it's Jared Rexing, one of those chasers on the pole ahead of Ethan Burrell, Hank Steinmiller, and Colin Fern. So 2, 3, and 4 all out of the chase, as well as P5 and P6, actually, R.C. Anderson and Johnny Thomas. It's only the next chaser that comes up at P7, and what a qualifying effort from 8th place driver Zach Evans.
Yeah, that's big for Jared Rexing, too, picking up that extra bonus point. That takes him from 3 points out to just 2 points out here. So big for Rexing to grab that spot early on in this race. I think that he and Gerald Campbell, Matthew Weeks, and David Tooker are going to be the 3 guys that are all battling, or 4 guys that are all battling for the spots. I think Josh Adams is pretty well locked up, barring any crazy incidents. And as we kind of scroll through this list, Matthew Weeks starting 11th, probably one of those guys to watch out for coming forward. He loves Atlanta.
Absolutely. A lot of strong guys kind of mired a little bit in the pack here. You see David Tooker, one of those guys that we've come to expect to be strong at tracks like this now. Tate Lytle as well, loves a track like this. Josh Adams down in P19, your current points leader. And then a number of drivers who did not qualify. You saw Harrison Talon, Caleb Thompson, Andrew Rucker, Brent Jones, and Ethan Reisner. So cars out on the grid now. We'll have everybody starting to line up real quick here.
Jared Rexing is kind of the guy who's essentially proven us wrong. I think 2 years in a row, essentially now. He's been really, really competitive going for these Final Fours. And last year, he came up just short in the penultimate race. This year, 2 points out in the pole position entering this final race. I think he's got a really good shot. That 10 car has been pretty quick this year, and he would certainly be one of those guys looking out to grab this win. I think he'll be all right.
Yeah, certainly look out for Jared Rexing. He's been really strong as of late as well. Had good pace at the past couple of races that we've been to, but obviously hasn't sealed the deal in terms of grabbing a victory here in the chase. So Jared Rexing hoping to get the job done here, or at least point his way in. Again, he's in a fairly comfortable position. Well, I say fairly comfortable. He's close to that bubble line. He's not like Chad Frankenfield or Ryan Gavel, who kind of are in must-win situations effectively to get themselves to the field. And I believe actually Ryan Gavel is not even here tonight as I'm looking through timing and scoring. So that's now both Chuck Sweeting and Ryan Gavel who are out of this chase. So just 3 drivers now on the outside looking in.
Like a black flag penalty for Colin Fern to start this race as well. We've got Ethan Burrell and Hank Steinmiller, Johnny Thomas, and R.C. Anderson in the top 5. All guys who are very competitive, especially at these 1.5 mile tracks, and guys who are looking to sneak away that automatic berth, that win from these guys. I think the only guy who really needs an automatic win here is Chad Frankenfield. He probably won't be able to accumulate 24 points on any of the 3 guys that are in front of him in this point standing. So Chad's going to be win or nothing, but all these guys around him, Ethan Burrell, Hank Steinmiller, Johnny Thomas, R.C. Anderson, those guys are out hunting race wins. And quick shout out to Zach Evans, that 8th place qualifying run. Very good for the number 50 car.
Really impressive qualifying there for Zach Evans. We'll see how he's able to make this translate into a race result. We're about to get going here for 163 laps at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Jared Rexing goes green, and a good restart alongside him from Ethan Burrell. Ethan looking to try and make a top lane work. What is going to be the preferred lane here around this racetrack? We know it is a bumpy one, and, well, we've seen this race go fully green in the past. So, yeah, what can we expect to see here tonight from these guys?
I think they're going to be bottom feeding is Scott Haney sideways, and he's going to take out Colin Fern. Oh, that might be a caution. Yeah. We'll have to see if the pack of the pack is able to keep it up, and yep, they're able to keep going. So no caution on iRacing. Ethan Burrell took the race lead from Jared Rexing, and he'll lead lap 1.
Yeah, so Colin Fern rolling here, and like you said, Ethan Burrell back up to the lead, and in fact, Hank Steinmiller, Jared Rexing is getting eaten up right now by the rest of this pack, because look at this. Burrell, Steinmiller, Frankenfield, and Ederson have all made their way past this 10 car, as Jared Rexing hanging on right now, coming out of turn 2.
Tyler Fody chasing Dusty Dewar down to the bottom of the racetrack. In the back of the field, chaos behind the leaders. The front 2 single file. Everyone else side by side. Anderson, Thomas, and Frankenfield all running 3-4-5 in the Richmar Florist Esports team. They're teammates that have really not been kind of together a whole lot this year. If one of them's good, the rest don't seem to be. Steinmiller going for the lead on the outside. Not something you expect from Hank Steinmiller. He's usually a bottom feeder.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hank Steinmiller has had a horrible chase so far, but really coming to life on a track like this. And, what is it about a track like Atlanta potentially that suits this driver? Because we saw at Charlotte, Darlington, now Atlanta. These are tracks that seem to suit this 63 car, as he is still fighting on this top side for the lead from Ethan Burrell.
He might have made a mistake doing this, as he might be wearing his tires a little bit, but I know Hank just really likes when you have to roll the bottom of the racetrack usually and keep care of your tires, but he's doing none of that right now. Took the lead from Ethan Burrell on the top. That's a power move by that 63 car.
Yeah, really impressive, but power move here. It's Chad Frankenfield, your reigning champion, your defending race winner here. Frankenfield been moving forward, but look at this. Burrell on the outside, Frankenfield in the middle, Thomas on the bottom. They're 3 wide, and they make contact, the teammates.
Chad's going to save it. He's still struggling with the car. 3 wide again. Oh, Rexing off the wall. He bounced off of Anderson.
Anderson, Rexing both in the wall there. Anderson goes around, but he's in the infield. He saves it, and we're going to stay green again here, but Chad Frankenfield right there did not make any friends with his 2 teammates. made contact there heading into the corner with Johnny Thomas. That kind of recovery bottled up the rest of the cars going around turns 1 and 2. And Frankenfield, aggressive early here, has hurt both of his teammates, as now Johnny Thomas down in 8th position. R.C. Anderson all the way down in the 24th position.
Among those guys who got crashed out on lap 1, Eric Collin, Vernon Haney, the only other two that far back. Matthew Weeks is driven from 11th up to 4th. That 11 car looks pretty solid. Josh Clark up to 5th in this Virginia Tech numberless car. Still not sure why Josh doesn't have a number on that machine, but no matter what, Clark up to 5th and looking really good. These Pro Edge cars starting to move forward, trying to chase down their teammate Ethan Burrell. They're going to need a caution to be able to do it, though. I mean, Hank Steinmiller, Ethan Burrell, and Chad Frankenfield now well over 2 seconds ahead of this pack right here.
Yeah, very impressive. But look at this pack. Look at how aggressive guys are running right now. This is a different race than I feel like we've seen at Atlanta in the past, because I thought it typically would single file out. We were talking a little bit before this broadcast began, and it was very much a single file race, but with these fresh tires, possibly with the way this new aero package is, the way iRacing has modeled it, you know, these guys are able to run side by side, especially early on in these stints. We're starting to see some single filing out here, but very aggressive, very tight racing for the rest of the pack.
It's weird because I think that we had a very similar start to the race last year. You know, I think of when Chad Frankenfield and Vic Bloom got together in turn 1. Chad was sideways on the apron, ended up being able to take the lead and hang on, but he really did kind of have the same start to the race last year that he did this year, and so far it's worked out for him. He's up in 3rd, but he's going to need to win this race. Hank Steinmiller and Ethan Burrell are out in front of him. And then with all the chasers are kind of in this pack right here. Weeks leads it. Then there's Gerald Campbell in 5th. And Bodie and Rexing are 10th and 11th right there on the screen. And just behind them, Josh Adams trying to work his way up, the points leader. All Adams needs to do is finish in the top 15, and he'll be all right. 21-point lead on the cut line. Nothing short of a catastrophe would, I think, knock Josh Adams from the Final Four. But you know, it's so far so good for the rest of the chasers. No one got caught up in any of those incidents. Everyone pack. It's just a matter, aside from, of course, Chad Frankenfield, who's way out in front of it, it's just a matter of not getting caught up in another incident, which could be brewing. I mean, this thing is really crazy right now.
Well, what I wanted to bring attention to is there is damage, in fact. I think when Chad Frankenfield, there was an incident. It was Jared Rexing who was involved, and we're looking at the right front suspension of this 10 car. We can take a look at the right rear. Look at that quarter panel. Jared Rexing has been falling back, and you can tell he's struggling, probably because of this damage he's gotten to the right side of this 10 car.
Tucker also struggling, which makes right now, I think, pretty clearly the Final Four: Fody, Adams, Campbell, and Weeks. And something drastic would have to change over the next 150 laps to change that up, because Rexing already starting off going backwards. Looks like Tucker's not nearly as quick as his teammates, back in 14th spot there behind Jared Rexing. So if Tucker struggles to get through the field and this race goes green, he's going to find himself on the outside looking in too. And Frankenfield must win this race. I mean, he can't not win it to get in.
Frankenfield certainly in that must-win situation, but still dropping back from our leader because Hank Steinmiller is really just on a tear right now. Ethan Burrell hanging on just a little bit, about 6/10 back, but Hank Steinmiller right now, lap 12, pulling away with this lead up to now 7/10 of a second off of that last corner. So fluctuating a little bit, but I mean, crazy to just see the comparison of the front of the pack versus the back here, and how much just that incident with the 15 car kind of separated these groups. And I think you mentioned it, Matthew Weeks at 2 seconds behind Frankenfield, at 1.5 behind Ethan Burrell, with nobody to draft off of. It's going to be very difficult for these guys to close back in on each other.
I think these two, you say that, I think these two right here, Tate Lytle, Matthew Weeks, we've seen them work together in this series. Tate obviously missed some races before the playoffs started, which ended up knocking him out of the playoffs. I think he'd be one of our championship contenders if he was, competing for that. But he and Matthew Weeks have worked together many times in the past, teammates in the Pro Edge stable. They are probably going to try to draft up to Chad Frankenfield. Gerald and Weeks are both good, right? If they finish there, they're good, they're in. But they need to kind of separate themselves from this pack, and with Tyler Fody right there bearing down, and Andrew Rucker too. Those guys are aggressive. They're more than willing to take them 3 wide like we saw early in this race, and that's what led to those problems. So you definitely want to get away, and I think these 2 Pro Edge cars are certainly going to give it their best try to draft up to Chad Frankenfield, see what 2 cars can do versus 1.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that gap. Right now it's down to 1.8 seconds from 2 seconds a couple of laps ago, so possibly this strategy is starting to work, especially because now this pack is kind of single filing out. Nobody running side by side, nobody taking air off of one another. As I say that, Tate Lytle, of course, goes to the inside of his teammate. And man, I feel like I have a less destructive jinx than you do.
Tate tight there too, coming off of turn 4, and you're right. I mean, this is going to open up that gap for Chad Frankenfield to the rest of the leaders. But it also puts Weeks and Campbell in a danger zone here, running side by side, because if they get involved in an incident, there's no turning back now, right? Like, you don't have that chance next week. It's over next week. So, man, tight there, and maybe the Weeks and Tate were trying to do the little 2011 Daytona 500 swap for the lead of the draft. Maybe Tate feels like he's a little bit faster than Matthew, and Matthew feels like he can ride in behind Tate a little better.
Yeah, they were able to make that work. The question is, how much time they end up losing to Chad Frankenfield, and it was only a couple of tenths realistically for them, so somewhat successful there. But I mean, they also kind of need to run away. You see Rucker now on the outside of Matthew Weeks, and taking away that draft, that's going to hurt Matthew Weeks now over the course of the next corner on the front straightaway, on the next back straightaway. You very much, with this package at this type of racetrack, my assumption would be, even with the bumps at Atlanta, you're still focusing really heavily on momentum. It's going to be a typical style cookie cutter 1.5 miler. Am I correct in saying that?
A couple of things, but I just noticed that the Ethan Burrell has cut the race lead down to 0.2 of a second, so we might want to jump up there and take a look. Yeah, there it is. Ethan Burrell doing a really good job of keeping up, and looks like Colin Fern's been off track again. He might have even having pitted earlier on in this, so he's now 2 laps down, I believe. And what I was noticing when they were running that pack, and we were kind of watching Rucker and Fody go around Matthew Weeks, is that, especially because Hank Steinmiller took the lead on the outside as well, I think the outside lane might be the preferred groove once the tires wear, which is kind of how Atlanta should be run. I know they've been making these grip strips to work on these tracks and work on the raceability of some of these tracks. We visited Auto Club on Monday, and the outside lane was certainly viable, though it seemed like the inside was more of a fast groove. Here, though, we have a new build, so we don't really know what all is different. But I know Atlanta did get an update, and I wonder if they might have shifted the lane as the tires age up to the top, as it is in real life.
Yeah, really interesting to see this kind of play out, and that is Colin Fern, the lapped car. He's going around the leaders, a little bit close there off of turn 2, but fresh tires, you can see obviously the advantage there. And we'll start talking strategy a little bit later, because I think we've kind of seen a pattern emerge in terms of what is the dominant strategy at these types of racetracks. But I mean, you're right now watching this lead battle between Hank Steinmiller, Ethan Burrell, 2 drivers who have zero stake in this championship. Ethan Burrell maybe slightly, because his teammate is running for 2 of his teammates are running for the championship right now, but realistically, both of these guys just out here for the glory of grabbing a win. We know Ethan Burrell long overdue for a Cup Series win. Hank Steinmiller got that win in Darlington, but didn't quite follow it up with his chase performances. Has something to prove here, so really intriguing to see how this race plays out. We could have back-to-back weeks here where we have a non-chase driver go to victory lane.
Yeah, I've been watching the timing and scoring. Since these 2 migrated to the top, Chad Frankenfield has lost nearly a full second to them. It's now 2.5 seconds back to Frankenfield. Was about 1 second and 0.8. So not only is Chad kind of getting sucked up by Tate Lytle, but he's also losing a lot of ground to Hank Steinmiller and Ethan Burrell. And Chad does not need to get engaged with all these guys, snarling in behind him. Especially some of these hungry guys like Tyler Fody, who's out here to prove something today. Andrew Rucker, who has been not running well this season, to say the least. But and I know for a fact he's on a broken wheel. Andrew Rucker is. He's putting it together without forced feedback. So he's looking a lot better than he did earlier on. This when that wheel was messed up. I think on Monday he had an overcorrection, just totally wiped him out there. So. He's got to be careful with that. I know guys can run without force feedback, so maybe he'll be able to do it. And he's up in 5th. It's working out for him for now.
Yeah, you brought up the point of Chad Frankenfield losing time to the leaders, but he's losing time to everyone right now. And I think what we're seeing here is the aggressive early strategy for Chad Frankenfield probably only works if he gets that race lead, because then he can control the clean air and control what guys can do behind him. But right now, sitting even where he is right now, just he can't make progress on guys in front. And we'll see what Tate Lytle can do. He can probably draft up. I'll be interested to see if Tate Lytle can make the overtake on Chad Frankenfield, as we've got a nice little battle actually going on for the 5th position between Rucker and Fody. But that's probably what we're gonna see here is Chad uses up his tires early on. Tate kind of is going to come in, but is there going to be enough of an advantage for Tate Lytle to be able to actually make the overtake and get past the 15 car? That is, again, from the iRacing that we know of old, from this package, this type of racetrack, that's typically what you see. A guy can get close, but he's going to have a hard time passing. You see Ethan Burrell versus Hank Steinmiller. Burrell got close. He kind of cut down his lap times, closed into Hank. Has not closed down beyond that 0.2 of a second gap since getting to that point.
It goes back to, I think, the talk that we've had multiple times this season about realism versus rewarding entertainment on a video game. And in real life, this package, these cars are set up to basically not allow Ethan Burrell with a really, really loose race car there off of turn 2. Gonna try to attempt this pass on the inside, but if he's not able to complete this pass, it goes back to that way that realism works. But it looks like he is going to be able to overtake Hank Steinmiller. So the 2 cars that have led this race swap it once again. Burrell and Steinmiller there, and Burrell does take the lead over Hank. So did Hank run his tires off? Good question. We'll find out as this run kind of goes along. But yeah, let's see if Tate can get around Chad Frankenfield, and that would, I think, be a pretty determining point and factor as to what's going to happen the rest of the way when it comes to these battles on track. Whether or not there's like a bubble of air in front of the car, and whether it pushes the slower car out of it. Yeah. If there is one, I mean, this is where we'll see it right here. And it's like Tate's able to get to the back bumper of Chad Frankenfield and make a move on him. So that's encouraging, at least.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, if overtaking is possible, which, I mean, Tate Lytle right now just showed that, Ethan Burrell just showed that on the previous lap, suddenly that undercut strategy that we've seen at these 1.5-mile tracks doesn't work quite as well. I think it may still be the call to go for, because it's just, right now, history with this Cup package, these types of racetrack, kind of proves that that's the way to go in terms of strategy. But the reason that worked so well is because it is hard to pass, and when guys get close enough to you, they kind of make up all that time again. At that point, the tires are so worn off that you can't make a move. But right now, this package isn't racing too bad as these tires wear down. Certainly much better than what I was expecting, where I think we might have been single file the rest of this.
Rucker. There goes Rucker sideways down the back straightaway, and that, I think, was a product of that wheel just oversteering a little bit because he didn't have the feedback in the car, couldn't feel the right rear turning back on him a little bit, and Tyler Fody's going to overtake for 5th spot. So Rucker back to 9th after that mistake, and that's just a product of his situation. And these guys running around him, I think they all know and are aware of the situation. He's made everyone aware, which is good of him. Josh Robin up here in 7th spot. That was a bit of controversy, I think, was between Robin and Tucker for that final spot getting into this round. I think those guys at Talladega were under the impression that it went the other way. I think even Chad Frankenfield tweeted out the wrong order among them. And, man, Robin tries the slide job on Fody. That's not going to work.
Man, yeah, very close there. Robin coming on strong late, and we've got them 3 wide across the line here. Campbell, Robin, and Fody. They should hopefully kind of file out here as Campbell takes advantage of both of them to
in the wall.
Oh.
He's all right. He's okay. He's still going. Battle's still on for 5th spot.
Yep, so there you go. Campbell still taking over 5th spot. Fody now settling in, and Robin now settling in to 8th position. Josh Adams, though, has now entered the photo. And, Josh Clark has entered the frame here. I'm getting myself all mixed up on our time against scoring screens.
Adams is right there in the pink and black car.
Yes, he is.
Josh
Yeah, I was just looking.
Top,
yeah, I was looking at the wrong car when I said Josh Adams. I was looking at Josh Clark's car. But here we go. Josh Adams making the move on Clark. So once again, we've got the 3 Joshes all on track next to each other. We've got Robin over Adams over Clark. Last time we saw this, I think, was Mid-Ohio at the start of the chase.
Yep, Personet's in 13th, too. We have 4 Joshes within like 6 spots of each other on racetrack right now. This is the League of Joshes for real. And yeah, Personette right there having a good run, running right behind David Tooker, who it really does need to catch up with this pack. Tooker is, I think, too far back to be able to make a move on the cars he needs to make a move on. He needs to be in front of that Matthew Weeks machine by 1 spot. That's all it is. It's 0 points between the two of them. So obviously they would love to knock Gerald Campbell out, but Campbell running 5th right now. That makes things difficult. Battle for 15th, Jordan Owens and Jared Rexing. Rexing's car not the same after that damage. Another car that's not the same after damage is Johnny Thomas. He's back in 20th.
Yeah, I'm like, for me, the alarm bells are ringing on Jared Rexing's race right now and his championship hopes, because this was the pole-sitting car. We know Jared Rexing, typically not one of your standard like hot lappers where he's good over a single lap and kind of fades a little bit. Maybe a little bit better on medium runs than long runs than some of the guys like Tyler Fody. Maybe not quite as good at saving tires there, but this is very clear to me that the damage is severely affecting Jared Rexing right now. He needs a caution to repair that, to reset, to make a run back at this field, because right now that 10 car is only moving in one direction, and it's not the direction that he wants.
On his inside, Zach Evans with that impressive 8th place qualifying run. He tried to kind of back out of it there, I think, jump out of it early and kind of head to the back, take survey of what's going on, and move back to the front a little bit, and bounced it off the fence. Good, we got off of him before he wrecked it.
Yeah, well, I had to go to this fantastic battle we've got going on here, because from 5th all the way through 10th position, everyone's separated pretty much nose to tail here in a line. And, hopefully we'll get some nice little battles out of this. Up front, it is Ethan Burrell, a second over Hank Steinmiller, who returned a second, almost 2 seconds behind in front of Tate Lytle, who, again, is a second ahead of Chad Frankenfield. Frankenfield 2 seconds ahead of this battle we've got here on the race.
Yep, the biggest, I think, thing we want to keep our eye on as Jared Rexing falls through the pack right now is the battle between Matthew Weeks and David Tooker. 9th is Weeks, 11th is Tooker. They came in tied on the bubble for 4th spot in the playoff. And right now, no race winner that is in the playoffs. In fact, the top 3 in this race not in the playoffs. There's about to be a battle for second. Ethan Burrell putting a whooping on the field so far, 1.3 seconds back to Hank Steinmiller, and then from there it's this big battle for 5th place, including 3 of our championship drivers, actually 4 of them. Weeks is right there as well. This might be the final 4 right here on screen.
Yeah, we know Tyler Fody already locked in. Gerald Campbell's had a good second round, of course. Josh Adams has been very strong, and yeah, there you go. Matthew Weeks, I think, as things stand, is probably in the final 4 as we run. But yeah, I mean, David Tooker a couple of positions back. We know Jared Rexing having a rough night. We know Chad Frankenfield in a must-win situation. So realistically, this is your final 4, unless Tooker pulls off something or Chad pulls off something. That's kind of the way I'm seeing it, at least.
Phoenix, I mean, these 4 guys, I think back to New Hampshire and who was strong there, and 2 of them were, Tyler Fody and Josh Adams raced for the win at New Hampshire. So Phoenix going to be, I think, a similar beast, though I know Matthew Weeks and I know Gerald Campbell, they are not going to go in unprepared. Those guys are going to practice very hard. They're going to go hard for this championship because those guys are really competitive, and Fody and Adams not going to roll over and be slouches at Phoenix either. So it should be a good battle. And I mean, we even say that like it's wrapped up. I mean, pit stops are coming up. David Tooker could still make a move, and he's very competitive just about everywhere we go. I think he had a chance to win the Xfinity race at Phoenix we had a couple of weeks ago. He got into it with Damian Leininger for the race lead. But Tooker shouldn't be slept on, and I think Chad obviously showed last year exactly what happens if you sleep on him.
Absolutely, yeah. No, all of these contenders here, I mean, we said at this, when we did our pre-chase show, that every single driver in this chase field, has some claim to be in that final 4, has a chance, if they make it, if things go right for them, or, they have the ability to perform on this stage to make it to that championship 4 and be our next champion here of the JoinAPS Cup Series. Unfortunately, only 4 drivers are able to make it to that final round. And we'll kind of figure out who those are as this race progresses, but I mean, such a talented field here, and you're seeing that right here, where that top 3 non-chasers all the way through, and then finally you have them going from 4th through 7th, and then a bunch of non-chasers again kind of filling in the rest of the gap. So an extremely talented field. And yeah, these guys, no matter who they're racing in the Final Four, are going to have a rough time trying to get that championship. It's going to be well earned, whoever does get that job.
Ethan Burrell hasn't won a race this season, and I think that's all we need to know as to how difficult this league tends to be in terms of competitive nature. These guys, Ethan Burrell is one of the fastest drivers I've run with at any level. He wins just about everything else, and over in Erska, he is second in points, running with Ryan Lutz, who's a kind of an elite driver as well, who's won a lot of races, and kind of the two fastest guys here. They're the two fastest guys over there too. And by a large margin as well. And you know who's third in points? Tate Lytle over there. So these guys are fast, and they're fast everywhere they go. And it turns out, you know, they're competitive when they get next to each other. Josh Adams just lost a bunch of spots, maybe just kind of backing it out to you know, remove himself from the chaos. In fact, he might even be pitting.
Yeah, so Josh Adams could be kicking off this pit cycle here. 95 car comes in at the end of lap 44, or actually 43, I believe. Lear's on 44 right now. So going for that undercut that we've talked about that, you know, has been the race-winning move at races in the past. So Josh Adams, 95 car on pit road. He will go down a lap to our leader, Ethan Burrell. The question is, though, how much of an advantage will he gain on the rest of the guys that he was fighting? This is that group that Josh Adams was competing with. 6 seconds up the road is
Chad
Ethan Burrell.
going too.
Ooh, yep. So
Chad heads down pit road.
Makes that same call there. Again, I think this is a similar move that we've seen Chad make work. I think it was at Texas a few weeks back in the chase that we saw Chad Frankenfield do a similar strategy. It worked. He was leading up until he took himself out of that race there. So Chad Frankenfield, again, working that strategy, trying to make things work that, you know, make this race come to him. Out front here, Gerald Campbell, I know, likes to try the undercut. Tyler Fody, Matthew Weeks are guys that I know like to probably stretch it a little bit. Matthew Weeks maybe sometimes short, sometimes long. He likes to change things up. So, you know, We'll see how guys play the strategy game. It is going to be pretty different as we go along with this run.
I envision we have about 60 laps or so of fuel. These guys are going to push it all the way to the end of the run. Tyler Fody up to the top for fourth place on Campbell. And Campbell jams it right back in behind him. So fourth place to Fody, fifth to Campbell. Now Weeks tries to go after fifth place from Campbell. And this battle has been raging all race long, and it has been a good one among this group of chase drivers and a couple of our non-chase drivers as well, with Rob involved. Just a fun little battle here that these guys have been able to put on for us. And hey, you know, that's what this car is supposed to do. It's supposed to run you in a pack, and they've done it today. I mean, maybe this iRacing thing, they're starting to get it worked out right as the car goes away for the extended future with the arrival of that next gen car.
Yeah, I know there's certainly been a push within Elite to use the next gen car next season. I don't actually know if it's even been confirmed yet, so I'm not going to make any confirmations. But I know they're planning to test the next gen car and try to figure out if that's a viable option for 2020B or 2021B, excuse me. But it looks like iRacing right now, like you said, this as things run, this package finally starting to come to life as, ooh, Josh Robin gets very loose there on the exit as Gerald Campbell tries to go down, I think. Robin has to take some avoiding action as Campbell trying not to lose positions to Tyler Fody.
Yep. Robin, Fody, Campbell, Weeks right here, all the same guys who've been battling all race. And I want to keep an eye on Chad Frankenfield and Josh Adams trying to unlap themselves. Jared Rexing has also made that call to head down pit road, and I think they're actually coming up on this pack right now. I think Chad's just getting up to the back of it here. Here he comes flying underneath. So Chad Frankenfield is trying to unlap himself around this group with a big move there, and the fresh tires working out for that 15 car. He's able to hold it wide open right now. And it's how far ahead can he get? I think once everyone else pits, they'll run Chad back down. And as we've seen, if the overtakes are more doable, it won't be nearly as inefficient to use the pit later strategy if you can make those passes once you catch those cars in front of you.
Yeah, that's the big question, because as it stands right now, Chad Frankenfield is lapping 3 seconds a lap faster than anyone else on the
field. Wall. That's a big hit for Matthew Weeks.
Yeah, keeps it pointed in the right direction. Let's head back to the iRace Online replay, because that's massive championship implications potentially here. Let's take a look and see what happened to Matthew Weeks. There's the 11 car. Looks like
They
just
came
contact.
together. Weeks is likely unhappy with Josh Robin after that one, but I don't know that he would have nearly the reason to be that he might think. I think those cars came together via net code is what it looked like to me there, and this car badly damaged.
The
He's
left
taking
side
on
as
pit
well.
road right now.
Yeah, the left side of this car is damaged. The right side of this car is damaged. This is huge for Matthew Weeks. He's staying out for another lap here.
I don't know about that one. Maybe he's hoping for a quick caution here since there are cars headed down pit road to get tires. David Tooker is struggling on the older tires as well. Weeks hasn't even lost that spot yet, but Tooker behind now Jordan Owens and Josh Personette. You can see him kind of struggling, and he tends to do that on these longer green flag runs. Tooker usually kind of runs out of tire. That's what's happened to him here. So both Pro Edge cars really having a bit of an issue here on this long green flag run. That might open the door for Chad Frankenfield, though he'll need points. He's got to win, or he doesn't need points. He's got to win the race because these guys aren't going to finish back down in 20th, 25th place. They're going to finish up in the 15th or so if they're in a bad race, unless they wreck, which Weeks almost did.
Yeah, but I mean, coming into this race, it was 27 points, the gap between Chad Frankenfield and the cut line. So even then, with just 27 cars starting this race, that means that Chad Frankenfield basically has to win. Like, these guys have to finish last, and if we did this just off of points, Frankenfield would also have to win, grab some bonus points as well to actually surpass anybody. So it is a tall order. Chad Frankenfield, for all intents and purposes, a must-win situation. Again, I think if Matthew Weeks stops his car right now, obviously he wouldn't do that, but if Matthew Weeks stops his car right now and Chad Frankenfield does not win this race, Weeks wouldn't be in. It would be Tooker, but Frankenfield would still not be in. He has to win this race.
Yep, I think you're absolutely right. While we've been monitoring all this drama back in the field, Ethan Burrell's pulled out to a 3.3 second lead over Tate Lytle, now taking over second over Hank Steinmiller. I think the 36 car has run the course on those tires, and he's just holding on until that pit stop. But in third place so far, he's still within striking distance, but he would need to, I think, undercut Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle to be able to make up some of that ground.
Yeah, I think this would be a great opportunity here for Hank Steinmiller to come down pit road. I think if the tires are starting to wear on that car, as Tate Lytle does go down pit road here. So the 56 car making his way down pit road to his pit box, was running second at that time, and that was a legitimate position there. Just made that pass on Hank Steinmiller, like you said.
So that makes Tyler Fode the third place car now, and 7 seconds behind Ethan Burrell. Burrell has thrown down the gauntlet early on in this race, been very, very good. The kind of performance that he needed last year, and was unable to get due to the damage on the back of his car. So Burrell obviously kind of thinking, what if? He's pretty fast here at Atlanta. It's pretty expected to see that 37 out front.
Yeah, right now, massively working forward on extending the gap on Hank Steinmiller, 5.5 seconds. Steinmiller falling kind of a little bit back towards Tyler Fode. That gap gone down to 2.5 seconds. Continues to go down as well as this run goes on. Hank Steinmiller, I think that 63 car should come down pit road. If I was the crew chief there, I'd be telling him, come down, let's try this out. He obviously has nothing to lose. Try a strategy like that, see how it works, get the undercut on the guys that you're racing right now, because for Chad Frankenfield, again, when everyone else comes down pit road here, Frankenfield is going to be a long way ahead of the field. The question is going to be, how quickly does the rest of the field catch up to Chad Frankenfield?
We've seen the undercut strategy work well this year, and I think that we've also seen it, get lucky too. We at Texas, Tyler Fode started running down the leaders. We got confused because he stopped running Chad Frankenfield down. The issue was that Tyler Fode got into someone on pit road and got damage on the 40 car. So if you can avoid those kinds of incidents, you're going to be all right. We've had Gerald Campbell hit pit road. I think David Tooker's hit pit road now. So most of our contenders have hit pit road. Matthew Weeks staying out, hoping for that caution. That 11 car is not going to enjoy having to climb back through the field with a bunch of damage on the right front. He is in big trouble, I think. Lost a lot of ground on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think for Matthew Weeks, the call on this is pray for a caution, because there's no way that damage is getting fixed under green. but I think he is coming down pit road this time. No, that's just the sheer speed of the 11 car. There is no speed in the 11 car as it stands, and Matthew Weeks, a guy who looks forward to these 1.5 mile and up racetracks, right now dreading every single lap he has to do around this Atlanta Motor Speedway.
For Texas, he was in the race lead, battling for it with Chad Frankenfield, and got turned around. Had an opportunity to win that one, and then had an opportunity to win at Charlotte. Got turned around there. So just been a difficult couple of 1.5 mile tracks for Matthew Weeks, with incidents coming from while he was inside the top 10 at each one.
Yeah, for sure. So staying out here as Hank Steinmiller does finally bring that 63 car down pit road. That leaves just about 6 or 7 drivers left out on the racetrack. That's Ethan Burrell, Tyler Fode, Matthew Weeks. Dustin Dewar now jumps up to 4th place after staying out. And I believe we've also got Michael Goodman, who stayed out on the racetrack. And Johnny Thomas, ahead of him in the 6th position. So Chad Frankenfield then the first guy on fresh tires to be expected. He was one of the first to come down pit road. Some ways ahead of Josh Adams. He's actually, since coming out of pit road, they pitted just a lap apart. But Frankenfield has gapped Josh Adams. They were a 2.5 apart off of pit road. Adams right now sits 4 seconds behind the 15 car. So Frankenfield on a tear as it stands, trying to make up ground here. So that others maybe may not be able to make that back up.
Yep, Hank Steinmiller has come down pit road. That's another one that's going to need to really run it hard here and try to make up that ground. I think that this call by Chad Frankenfield is going to put him in a really good position. Ethan Burrell is coming down pit road now, but Chad's going to eat up. He'll be in the race lead, and he might be in the race lead by a healthy margin. Just being able to be the first car to pit and equalize your tires and get around the track as fast as anyone, it's a beautiful gift, and I think this is big for Chad. We'll see where Ethan comes out. He's already well behind Chad. You saw Chad going into turn 1 there. So this is all the ground Ethan has to make up. And look how far ahead of Ethan Tate Lytle is. I just wonder if short pitting is it's been the best strategy all season long. These guys continue to risk staying out longer, and it hasn't worked out for him yet. Ethan Bell's behind Josh Clark now.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the consensus seems to be that short pitting is the strategy, but it's a dangerous strategy for about 4 or 5 laps when you're a lap down trying to unlap yourself on the rest of the field. That, I think, right now is what turns people away from it. But, if Chad Frankenfield or someone who short pitted here wins this race, surely, we say this every single time, but surely that has to tell the rest of these competitors that, look, this short pit strategy, it's a legitimate strategy. It is the way to win these races. You can't stay out until the fuel burns all out because you will lose so much time to the rest of the guys around you. But the jury is still out. We've seen that strategy work at a number of racetracks, typically smoother 1.5 mile racetracks. This one's a little bit bumpier. We've seen guys can make overtakes on similar tires. So now with the tire discrepancy, how does this fare? What can Ethan Burrell do? Can he close that gap back up? Can anybody challenge Chad Frankenfield with the gap that Chad now has over the rest of this field? That is what we're going to try and figure out here. Basically, can we decide tonight, is this undercut strategy the way to go on 1.5 mile racetracks, or is there still going to be an asterisk on some of these events?
Ethan Burrell, and this is my problem with the aftercut strategy, is when you're the first car to come down pit road, you're covering through the field like butter. It doesn't matter what they do. You can't be held up. You're just so much faster. When you're Ethan Burrell right now, these guys he's got 5 to 10 laps, newer tires. That makes him faster, but that doesn't make him that much faster. These guys can still run right in his lane without being, in the way. And that blocks up Ethan Burrell. That makes it tough for him to run that full, hard-out distance that he can run when this car is at full song. And if he ever gets blocked up, that costs him a lot of time. He's got to make up 13 seconds now. At this point, I have to think, when preparing for that next pit stop, you have to be either right with Chad Frankenfield or the first one. You see right there, he had to slow up. Caleb Thompson sideways in front. I don't think Caleb Thompson's even pit yet. He might have been one of the first ones to come down pit road, actually. So his tires are just the most worn. And you see how much faster Ethan Burrell is, but he's got to make up so much ground. I just don't know if it's worth it. We'll see if Tate Lytle can go get Chad Frankenfield. He has a big advantage on tires on Chad. and he's only 4 seconds behind him. So can Tate Lytle run him down? That's a very good question.
Yeah, and you bring up a great point on that last. I mean, I mentioned it when Chad Frankenfield came in and pitted for new tires. He was running 3 seconds a lap faster than the rest of the field. Ethan Burrell on that last lap was just 1 second faster than Chad Frankenfield. It's just, in terms of the pace differential. And look, we're seeing Tate Lytle right now kind of make this work with the big enough difference, and we'll see what he can do if he can pass Chad Frankenfield as well. But man, this short pit strategy. Again, and I've been for a long time, I've been a guy who's been in the mentality of run the tank dry, then come down and pit, pray for a caution. That's kind of been my mentality, but I mean, there's clearly enough evidence at this point where this short pit strategy is a legitimate way to win these races. And yeah, I mean, guys should be looking at it a lot more seriously than I think. We see the same names every single week going for the strategy and making it work generally. And the same guys making mistakes and having to recover for the rest of the race because they lost all of that track position.
All right, Ethan Burrell's up to 4th now, so the track position loss doesn't seem to be plaguing the 37 car, and right behind him is Hank Steinmiller. So they're back into the top 5, but you've lost so much ground to Chad Frankenfield, and if this race stays like this, I mean, Chad's going to keep gaining those big chunks of ground, even though Ethan Burrell's cut into his lead in by 5 seconds, because like you said, he's going about a second a lap faster than Chad Frankenfield. Eventually Chad's going to pit once you get to him, and then he's going to shoot out there by 12 or 13 seconds again. So you have to be very, very aware that Chad keeps doing this to you, and he's your main competitor, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're Ethan Burrell, I think not only is he trying to grab the win, but he's got 2 of his horses in this race. Ethan Burrell, the owner of Pro Edge Racing, so he wants to make sure that they're the ones getting in, and Chad Frankenfield, the driver who can knock either one or potentially even both Matthew Weeks and David Tooker out of this chase.
Yep, that's the way it's going to go right now. Gerald running well enough to maintain his spot in. Same for Josh Adams. Safe race call by both of them. They were not the first to pit, not the last to. Oh, I guess Adams was the first to pit, but that strategy seems to be very, very good in terms of keeping your track position over the course of the race, because as far down as you fall on those older tires, you make it all back up when you pit early. So, and then remember, there's no tire limit today. You can come down as many times as you want. These guys can short pit as short as they want to. That could be an interesting way to go about things.
Yeah, I think it'll be, it is interesting, and guys can still change it up. You can still short pit relative, 2 other drivers here, because we will have at least one more stop to go in this race. I think if we go green the entire way, it'll be a 2-stop race. If we have cautions, obviously expect the entire field to come down pit road whenever that comes out. So we're going to have one more pit stop. We could see guys maybe change things up in terms of who comes down short and who stays out long. I remember, I want to say it was Charlotte, but I think we had some drivers who went 40, 50 laps on their first set of tires and then went 25 laps on their second set to short pit for that final stage. So, or that final stint, not stage, excuse me. But, there's still that option open for a lot of drivers to still make that short pit strategy work.
Right, and you can see Tate Lytle really eating into the Chad Frankenfield lead now. It's just 0.7 of a second, and Tate is coming quickly. But, Ethan Burrell is even on the screen right now making that pass for 3rd, but he's still 5 seconds back. It's just, or 3.5 seconds, 4 seconds back, but it takes so much time to get back up there. And if at the end of the race you're hunting Chad Frankenfield for the lead, he has 13 seconds on you with 15 laps to go. You've lost the race. You're not going to be able to catch back up.
Yeah, exactly. And right now we're seeing this pace kind of match up. I mean, that last lap, Tate Lytle 0.2 faster than Chad Frankenfield. Yes, he's faster, and 0.2 around an oval can be a significant amount, but the closer and closer Tate Lytle gets to Chad Frankenfield, the less and less that that difference in speed gets, and I think Tate will still just manage to eke ahead of Chad here on this run, but he was 6-7 seconds ahead of Chad when they pitted.
Yep.
So
That's
talk about that time
margin.
Loss that Tate Lytle and Ethan Burrell are suffering here. That's the big thing here that makes this strategy work so well. Oh, Chad Frankenfield loose.
Woo, that was almost the end of Chad Frankenfield's race. Tate Lytle takes the lead. That could have been a big moment right there. That could have ended Chad Frankenfield's hopes. And we've seen it with Matthew Weeks. Just the slightest little bit of contact there, and even not contact, really, it was more of a netcode incident for Weeks. Pounced him into the wall, and it's effectively ruined his opportunity to get into this Final Four. With that pass, though, that moves David Tooker into the fourth spot in the championship four, running 9th right now. So that's where we are in terms of the championship four. Tyler Fode in, Josh Adams in, Gerald Campbell in, and then it's a battle between Tooker and Weeks, and Tooker's ahead right now.
Yeah, and again, don't count out Jared Rexing. Right now, -2 behind, but he's been working his way slowly back up the order, up to P14 right now on pit cycle, though I believe he was also one of those first to come down pit road, so might be losing some of those positions here within the next few laps. We'll keep you updated on Rexing and where he stands in terms of this championship. Not over for the 10 car quite yet, but it's a long night for sure, having to recover from that damage early on.
We'll try to update the point standings for an official look here. I don't think Josh Adams ever led the race. I think he was behind Chad Frankenfield the whole time, so I'll keep that one off. And yeah, I'll try to get us a little bit of a live points look here where things stand currently.
While David's doing that, we're watching as Ethan Burrell works his way past Johnny Thomas, puts that 09 car a lap down. Johnny Thomas just has not had the race that he was hoping for after that early race contact with his teammates Chad Frankenfield and R.C. Enerson, as well as I believe he was involved in that slight mishap with Jared Rexing. Ethan Burrell, though, you see the pace of this 37 car. He's going to get to the inside of Chad. Down the front straightaway, will probably get this move done in 1 and 2. Meanwhile, Tate Lytle just a second up the road. So Ethan Burrell kind of has to work to get to his teammate if Burrell wants to raise a winner's trophy in the Cup Series once again. So Burrell up to second position over Chad Frankenfield. Again, we were talking 5 seconds, though. Now Ethan Burrell has to try and pull out over this 15 car if he wants to nullify the effects of Chad's undercut.
Now, what's the time difference there that it took Ethan Burrell? How many laps did it take Ethan Burrell to get up back past Chad Frankenfield? 19, 20 laps? I mean, if Chad can do it with, Chad can exit pit road with 25 or so laps to go and run it a little bit harder, I mean, that's might be all it takes,
Yeah, absolutely. It's not hard to see Chad Frankenfield make this strategy work. The question is going to be, when does this final pit stop come? On that first stint, what did a lot of these drivers do? I mean, they ran, some guys ran less than 50 laps on the first stint. And we're thinking of going 163 here, so you are going to have to do some long stint in here. And so that could potentially be the thought process, is get the long stint done early and then short pit to make it the rest of the way. That's a very interesting strategy. Yeah.
These guys are smarter than us.
But yeah, by the time we've caught up, these guys are laps ahead of wherever we'd be. And
though it's difficult to notice because it's guys that always do that. It's Tyler Fode, it's Ethan Burrell. They're always staying out late anyway. And Josh Adams, Chad Frankenfield, those are the guys who short pit generally. So it doesn't shock me, obviously, that that's even a remote possibility, which I think it is, honestly. If you're going to have to make one of those longer runs, you might as well make the longer run earlier and then start eating up the ground. I mean, Tyler Fode's 11th on track right now. That longer run strategy has not played into his favor whatsoever. He's not really gaining ground at all, and I can't help but wonder if we maybe miss Tyler Fode getting hit on pit road by another do-good car. Then we have to check this 40 car for damage. Yeah, I know I took us away from the battle for the lead there, but
roll through the fenders real quick here. Nothing significant.
Maybe a little crinkle on the left front.
Yeah, maybe a little crinkle. I don't know if that's his paint job or if that's a crinkle, but.
All right, we checked, Tyler. We checked for you. We checked for Mr. Fode. Looks like it's all clear. He'll be able to work his way back up. He's already back into 10.
Yeah, there you go. So Tate Lytle versus Ethan Burrell. The battle for the lead. Burrell looking to the inside of his teammate, and he's going to make the move past Tate Lytle. Can Tate hang on the top side? We saw the lane kind of move up as the tire run went on, but right now Ethan Burrell makes the move on the bottom line, hugging that white stripe.
updated the points now, I think, with the updated running order. So if we do want to take a look at that, it is David Tooker by a healthy 8 points. Check where Jared Rexing is running. Jared Rexing's actually fallen to 23rd now, so this can be updated as well to that. Now Rexing is back at 17 points down. He will need a big change if he wants to get in there and race for the championship next week.
Yeah, big work needed there for Jared Rexing. Right now, 1 lap down from the leaders. Last time on pit road was, I mean, he just recently came down pit road, actually, is why he's showing in 23rd position. So that's too early, though, I think, to make it to the end of this race. So Jared Rexing going to have to make another stop here and running a lap down in 23rd. So this race has just fallen away from this 10 car since that early incident. What a shame, really, because I think Jared Rexing has had a great round so far. Was doing a really good job of staying.
Josh Adams has come down pit road.
Really? Interesting.
Yep. Early pit stop for Josh Adams, it seems like, but he might have been struggling a little bit, and I think he's seeing the benefit of taking tires early and getting a faster run on everyone else. So, out of curiosity, if Josh Adams were to finish back here in 21st place, he'd still be 13 points to the good as they run right now.
So yeah, no real concerns, and we talked about that. Josh Adams really not too worried about points here tonight, just making sure he brings that car across the line with the buffer that he's got to his name. Is Alec
Campbell
and Gerald Campbell almost come together there off the corner, teammates.
That's 6th place too, Gerald Campbell, and one of our championship 4 potentially, and Gerald needs to not get involved in any of that. 10-point buffer to the cut line. He will need to not finish, 10 points behind David Tooker, basically, and Matthew Weeks both. Weeks running 13th. I mean, 23rd is still, that's where Jared Rexing is running. So you could absolutely fall back to 23rd if you were Gerald Campbell. Got to be careful.
Need to be very, very careful if you're any of these chase runners. David Tooker as well, running in the 8th position right now, hoping that he can try and make a couple of positions up. He's got his teammate Josh Clark in front of him. Hopefully those two can work together to get the Pro Edge cars into this chase.
So, Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle have not separated, really. Tate Lytle fell behind his teammate, but Ethan Burrell has been able to kind of pull Tate Lytle along. This is big for Tate Lytle, being able to maintain a gap that he was nowhere near before pit stop started on that first stint. I mean, he is up here within a couple tenths of a second of Ethan Burrell. He was multiple, like 3, 4, 5 seconds back of Burrell to start that caution. And Chad Frankenfield has fallen to 5 seconds back. So that's where he was to start this last run. It took him, 35, 40 laps?
Yeah, it's been 47 laps since Chad Frankenfield made that pit stop. The difference between himself and Tate Lytle was 10 laps, and then Ethan Burrell was another 10 laps there. So a significant amount of time to kind of reset back to that original gap that Chad Frankenfield was behind the leaders. But he's got an option right now to kind of extend through this stint. We'll kind of see how far this 15 car can go into this run and how long he has to run at the end of this race. And go from there, I suppose. That's Chad Frankenfield certainly not out of the question of being a race winner here. I think the strategy can still work for this 15 car. He's going to have to play his cards just right, though, I think, in terms of when he comes down pit road for this final pit stop.
Maybe he's using this middle stint to grab that long run and knock it out of the park here, and then he'll run this last stint as hard as he can. That might be the play, because you can't pit as short as he did the first time, 45 laps. You can't do that with 2 pit stops to 163. You have to at least go 50 one time. So if you divide 163 directly into thirds, that's what, 55, 56 laps if you just take it directly into thirds. I mean, he and Josh Adams have already cut it, by 40 laps. I mean, they're undercutting. Just directly dividing it into thirds by 20 laps total. And that's going to be a 65 lap run if Josh Adams has to run to the end on these tires.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, again, just really shakes things up. Tyler Fody right now trying to move himself back up the order. Again, he's totally safe into the final 4, but really the guy who, to me, lost the most amount of time here was Fody, down in the 9th position, fighting with David Tooker, who was kind of nowhere at the end of that first stint. Tooker's done a good job at kind of fighting his way back into the top 10 here. Tyler Fody fallen back from about 4th place, I think he was running before pit cycles began.
3rd. But and that might have been after somebody pitted in front of him, but he was the leader of that big pack that was existent when we first went to the pit stops. And Fody back in 8th now. He's been a clear loser. I mean, he's half a track length behind Chad Frankenfield when he was just a couple of seconds behind him when pit stop started.
Yeah, Hank Steinmiller has made the move on Chad Frankenfield, so Hank moves up into 3rd position. Chad Frankenfield comes down pit road, so there you go. That's the call for Frankenfield. 97 of 163, so that's a long run. 66 laps now on this final set of tires for Chad Frankenfield. That is a very tall order for those tires for Chad Frankenfield to stay competitive here. That's the move. Chad Frankenfield has played his hand. This is everything he's got to go for this championship.
That may be the defect in the short pit strategy. You will need a caution to pick up that time back, and it is not looking like caution is on its way. We've had several incidents not get called cautions. We've had these guys running very clean, very, very respectful today. I think kind of aware of the situation among these playoff drivers. And you've got some guys running extra hard that are trying to get their way in, like this guy coming off pit road right here, and some guys that have kind of allowed them to do so, I think, is the best way to put it. These guys are running hard, but they're not running over aggressively for the most part, unless they're involved in the playoffs, it seems like.
Yeah, again, I mean, you look at the way some of the playoff drivers are running, and it is fairly smart. Again, our first playoff contender down in 5th position, Gerald Campbell. No need to come into this race and put it all on the line to try and go for the win. He's got that buffer. Tyler Fody locked in. No real need. I mean, he could go out here and try to win this race as well because he can afford to do that. But, yeah, Josh Clark trying to get another good result. David Tooker kind of needs a solid enough result. But he can hang out here just on the bottom end of the top 10 and still make his way into this Final 4. Passes his teammate here, stay in contention with the likes of Tyler Fody like Gerald Campbell. He can certainly make that happen, especially when you consider the fact that Jared Rexing and Matthew Weeks have both hit trouble.
Weeks back in 13th and kind of nearing going a lap down to his teammate Ethan Burrell under green. That would certainly make things difficult for Ethan for Weeks to catch back up. That right front fender has not had a chance to be fixed, and he's running with essentially a parachute right now. And hey, quick shout out to Corey Abbott, running 12th naturally on the field or on the track here. He has put this 7 car in a position to get a really reasonable finish, I think, and he's running really strong. Also right now in the top 10, Jordan Owens sitting in 9th, Caleb Thompson right behind him in 10th. A couple of guys who've used that long run strategy to their advantage, and it might work out for them if they're able to run more laps with fresher tires than everybody else coming down to the end here. I think that might play into their favor.
It absolutely could, and these types of long races where maybe strategy plays a little bit more of a hand, than just your survival, you can see some pretty surprising results in terms of guys putting things together. A lot of the drivers that we don't necessarily talk about in the championship picture, do a really good job. They have a great, head on their shoulders in terms of putting together race results, and that's absolutely the way that you get these results is let these long runs play out. If you can imagine the race and visualize it for yourself the entire way through green flag runs, when exactly you're pitting to maximize the time gained on the racetrack, you can get in a ton of track position. We're seeing that guys do that here today.
Exactly. They're doing a really good job. Very smart racing from our whole group here, and the smartest race so far has been run by Ethan Burrell. He is the leader by 0.7 of a second over his teammate Tate Lytle, and I'm a little bit shocked that Lytle's been able to hold on like he has. I think he's about 10 or 15 lap older, fresher tires than Ethan Burrell, and Ethan, might be staying with Tate or trying to work with him there, but I would imagine Ethan wants to get away and get his first win in this season and in this calendar year. It's been a long time for Ethan Burrell. We've covered it immensely, and he wants a win more than as much as or more than anybody in this field.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're right now watching this battle between Tucker Fody and Josh Clark there as well, involved in this battle. And Clark right now kind of challenging his teammate a little bit. Not too many really close battles out on the racetrack. Tate Lytle right now about 0.8 of a second, 7.5 of a second behind leader Ethan Burrell. So that kind of charge that we were seeing from Tate Lytle maybe falling back a little bit as Lytle, I think, is getting ready to come down pit road. Nope, that's just a trick of the camera.
Just slowing up, waiting, letting Chad Frankenfield go by, and Chad's got to accumulate as much ground as he can and hope he can hold these guys off. Though I think if Chad is not planning to pit again, as he goes back on the lead lap here, if Chad's not planning to pit again, then I think that the 15 car is toast. That's going to be the only chance he has, is I think to run as many laps as he can on fresh tires, potentially go ahead and pit, with 30 laps to go, and see if you can't just blow the field away for that last set. I mean, you'll run enough laps to be able to make that work. He's just got to spend all his time on fresh tires and hope that he can overcome another pit stop.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's trying to do here. And I mean, that last lap, the pace, is there with the 15 car, but it's down to pace advantage is down to 1 second already, 10 laps into this run. He's had to deal with a little bit more traffic this time around. It's looking less possible for me for this 15 car to, be there in terms of, I mean, he basically, I think, is going to have probably a 5 to 10 lap window here of leading this race where he needs a caution to fall. No questions asked, has to have a caution. That is Chad Frankenfield's play right now, I think, and that might be the last thing he's got to go for this, but
Coming right now as well. Ethan Burrell is about to lap Matthew Weeks. There it goes. So Matthew Weeks' championship hopes lie in the fact that a caution would need to come out right now until Ethan laps another car, or until someone passes Matthew Weeks from the back. That is all he needs right now, is a caution now, or this 11 car to be miraculously fixed. I mean, it is really, really tough. And as soon as Ethan laps Dustin Dewar, that'll be it for Matthew Weeks, I think.
Yeah, and funnily enough, how many times have we called a race for being caution free, and then a caution immediately came out? Not the case here today. We'll see how that one ages.
Atlanta's just a different beast. It's very difficult to. You're racing the racetrack, and I think the races that race against the racetrack itself tend to string out, end up being more cautionless. And we see these drivers really step up to the plate and run better, I think, when they have to race against the racetrack. When it's a matter of racing your competitors because you're all stacked up against each other, whether that be at a super speedway track or a short track, that's when we tend to see incidents and guys bouncing off of each other.
Well, the race hasn't been incident-free for sure. We obviously talked about Matthew Weeks, Jared Rexing, both chasers with damage on their cars. They've just been incidents that haven't been severe enough for iRacing to deem them caution-worthy. So, guys can come together. This package still allows guys to run very close together. It's not necessarily that, guys aren't racing each other. It's just, I think for me, I was even going to say just the simple fact that there's so much runoff on the back straightaway that you can save a car when it starts to potentially go around now. That prevents these cautions from coming out, because of the way iRacing sees it, I believe, is unless there is a slow car or a stationary car on the racetrack,
exactly.
If we almost see Jared Rexing lose it, iRacing will not throw the caution.
Yep, it's an iRacing thing there, and there's a guy who's been a couple of guys who've been off the wall, Rucker and Rexing both. Josh Clark heading to pit road, so another one of our top 10 drivers, fades to the pit stop here. He'll try to run. I think we're now down to where it would be only about 50 laps under this final set of tires, and a lot of everybody who's pitting now, they're pitting for the last time in this race. No one else will hit pit road, barring a caution. Chad Frankenfield, though, I think there's a legitimate question whether Frankenfield or Josh Adams pits again. I think those guys might have to throw their hat in that basket just to see if they can't make up extra ground. I mean, Adams is going to have to run like 75 laps in order to finish this race. I don't think he's going to be able to do that.
I think Adams, I just saw the number of laps that Adams has done on this set, and to me, that's a guaranteed extra stop here. There's no way that 95 car is making it to the end of this race on this fuel load, unless he's running some ridiculous fuel save right now. And based off his pace, I don't really think he is. So, yeah, that's really intriguing to me how early Josh Adams made that pit stop, kind of committing himself, forcing himself to go to that 3-stop strategy, especially knowing that, a racetrack like this typically goes green the entire way through.
It's interesting to see. We haven't had anyone try this, and the extra pit stop might be too much to overcome. I think it might be too short of a race to pit more. If this were a full distance 325 lap race, I think that pitting more might actually be a benefit for you. Is Gerald Campbell pitting? I think he is. So, yep, bring the 31 down pit road. If Gerald speeds, that would be pretty bad for his chances, but I think he's all right. So Gerald has run a pretty solid race so far. 31 car's pitting from 5th. I mean, he's been strong.
Yeah, 31 car doing exactly what he needs to do today to get himself back into the championship. For former champion of the JoinAPS Cup Series, missed the chase last season, and we've talked about a number of times this year. The turnaround that Gerald Campbell has seen hasn't been to. Oh man, he has been to victory lane.
Yes,
of course he has.
Talladega, a walk-off win. Yep, Gerald's been. There's Chad Frankenfield going around Josh Adams. That's the battle for the de facto lead once pit stop cycle around. Ethan Burrell still out. Tate Lytle has pitted from 2nd spot. Ethan, the furthest out ahead. Ethan's going to be able to come to pit road. And there he is, coming to pit road, slapping the last set of tires on it, and he'll head out and expect to be able to drive through the field and I think come home a winner. This is the time. This could be Ethan Burrell's time.
Don't say this.
Oh, I'm saying it. We're going to see.
Ooh,
Honestly,
Ethan.
I want some drama. I want this race to
I gotta get the
great.
timestamp on this right here so I can let Ethan know exactly when you ruined his race.
No.
We'll see how this pans out for the 37. He's been extremely strong today. Tate Lytle maybe came close to challenging his teammate in that last run. We'll see what Tate can do on this next run. Obviously closed that time gap kind of shrunk between the two. It'll shrink again here between these two. Actually, I think Tate Lytle last time around was quite some ways ahead of Ethan Burrell when Ethan came out of pit road. This time they're going to come out right next to each other on the racetrack. Tate Lytle this time with, pitting a lot closer together to each other. That's probably why.
That's going to be tough for Ethan Burrell to get it back around Tate Lytle, I think. The gap there, I mean, Ethan will have a couple lap pressure tires, but I don't know that gap is super surmountable for Ethan Burrell. He's going to have to push that 37 car. But right now, both of them have a common enemy. They've got to go up and get Chad Frankenfield, who's nearly 15 seconds ahead. So without causing a caution along the way. And then they'll be able to sort this battle out amongst, I think, Tyler Fody, the only car on track who has not pitted, although Dustin Dewar has also not pitted yet. But everyone else, I think, has now come down pit road, and the order will shake out as such. So once Fody and Dewar come down, then everything will be, I think it'll be Chad Frankenfield, then Josh Adams, then Tate Lytle and Ethan Burrell, and then Josh Robin and Hank Steinmiller. So
as this run goes on and everyone's kind of come down pit road here, as guys start to cycle back into their positions, we'll just head away for a brief ad break from our premier sponsors here at the Elite Racing Leagues and be back with you guys in just a moment.
My name is John Cunningham with C2 Freight Resources. We are a Hub Zone certified logistics company here in Houston, Alabama. We've been in business for over 20 years, working with the Department of Defense and the federal government, among many other customers. C2 is committed to truckload shipments along with less than truckload shipments across the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Our high level of service is what keeps our customers coming back year after year. Our industry-leading transportation management software, along with our tracking software, allow our customers to know where their shipments are at any time, any day. In closing, C2 Freight looks forward to earning your trust and business through actions day in and day out. We know if given the opportunity, you'll be pleased with our service and communication.
Richmar Florist makes every day a special day, from weddings and large events to that little something for any occasion. Richmar Florist has the perfect floral expression, and they're open online 24/7 at richmarflorist.com. Everywhere, every day. Richmar's 2 retail locations offer a fantastic selection of floral creations, gifts, and home decor. Book your free consultation in our showroom for your special event needs, and visit us online at richmarflorist.com today.
Welcome back, everybody, to the SMRI Atlanta 250. After that commercial, we've also got to thank SMRI. They are an independent record label and media company that exists at the intersection of creation, media, and technology. They focus on delivering comprehensive digital content with organic media for all of your digital needs. They also all provide multiple avenues of content consumption to make sure you're always in control. As a provider, SMRI offers a unique, ever-growing catalog to fit your needs for any bespoke media desire. Check them out on Twitter and on their website as well. So this is where I think the battle for the lead eventually will be sorted between these two cars right here, Tate Lytle and Ethan Burrell. Jared Rexing trying out that 3-stop strategy, though. I think he's just too far back for that to matter, as well as with a damaged race car. Trying to throw everything at the board for poor Jared Rexing, and it seems like nothing's sticking.
Yeah, with this battle right now, Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle, maybe these guys deciding, as I said, I'm ready for them to prove me wrong, but maybe saying, hey, let's work together, chase down this 15 car, which is exactly what they're doing right now, because that gap, when we went to break, was 15 seconds. 4.5 seconds now is the gap, and Josh Adams does go for the 3-stop.
The news for Josh Adams is that he could finish probably 21st or 22nd in this race and still have a comfortable cushion all the way back. He would essentially need to crash out right now and finish 25th and have all his competitors behind him go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that seems like it's not what's going to happen at all. Like, Adams is fairly safe into the final round, though this race not playing out the way he would have wanted, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, momentum is certainly a big thing here in the elite racing leagues, and it's something that you can take advantage of. And right now, that kind of takes some of the wind out of your sails if you're Josh Adams. But again, he's just puttered along to the championship, regular season championship win. He's led the points the entire way through this chase here. Josh Adams, I mean, we talked about how close it was, but Josh Adams has just been so strong at every racetrack we go to. And he's put himself in this position. Chad Frankenfield, 3-stopping, so 15 car, making the call to put on an extra set of tires. Very interesting.
I just don't think he'll be even close to running down Tate and Ethan. I don't think that this is going to work, and I think Chad kind of binded himself into the box when he didn't take the first run to 50+ laps. And we were talking that it was a good enough strategy, but when everyone else can 2-stop, Chad's got a 3-stop. That makes it very difficult. And Chad trying something to win the race. He's in a must-win spot. I think that's all he can do right now.
Yeah, I respect the difference in strategy. I question whether or not this is going to be effective, though, for Chad Frankenfield and Josh Adams. Both of them trying it out, though. I mean, it's not like Chad's kind of alone in this, and we saw Jared Rexing also trying it out, but he's in a little bit of a different situation, I suppose, with the damage on that car. So we'll see. I mean, Chad Frankenfield right now sits a lap down from our leaders. Frankenfield right there, you see him going through turn 3. Ethan Burrell, Tate Lytle now crossing the start-finish line. So that is the gap that Chad Frankenfield has to make up, and then an entire lap again before getting back to these leaders if he wants a shot at winning this race. And he has to do that all in 34 laps.
Yeah, he's got to pick up essentially a second a lap all the way to the end, and then also make passes on top 5 lead lap cars and chasers who are trying to protect their points positions. It's very, very tough, I think, for Chad to make this happen, and that's kind of the story we got to follow, though, is the traffic around Ethan Burrell and Tate Lytle. Johnny Thomas, Josh Personette providing a little resistance for these two, and almost bottled up Ethan to where he couldn't get back to the Tate Lytle machine. If he loses the draft of that car, could spell doom for the 37. I did call him in. Maybe he would win the race, and maybe the jinx is that Tate Lytle's in this race, and these two Tate has actually taken a race from Ethan at Atlanta earlier this season in Erska, so a race Ethan dominated, much like tonight. Tate was out in front late, and Ethan couldn't get around him.
And never, ever count out Tate Lytle. He's been so strong. And, I mean, we've talked to him about this. The guy, I think if you said it at the start of the show, if Tate Lytle was in this championship race right now, we'd be talking about him as a potential championship favorite. The way he's come in at the end of this season as a part-timer and just dominated. Really been so strong in terms of the pace he's shown at every racetrack we go to. Was so good at Homestead, obviously won at Texas, leading here at Atlanta. Tate Lytle is a force to be reckoned with in the elite racing leagues. It's a shame he wasn't full-time this season, but Ethan Burrell not done with his teammate yet. 37 car to the inside in turn 1 and 2.
There's Ethan trying to take the lead now. He does have a little bit fresher tires. Outside. Oh, there's a crash!
That's going to certainly bring out the caution, and it does. So Chad Frankenfield, is he trapped a lap down? He is. He'll get the lucky dog. He's the first car down a lap. But Brent Jones, the car on the wall there that brought out that caution, what happened to this?
I don't think this is on Brent Jones. The way it looked like Andrew Rucker might have had one of those issues with his wheel that we were talking about. That's the car I saw that hooked to the left and took Brent down the track.
Oh, yep, you're exactly right there. That kind of move to the left.
Frankenfield got involved in that. Chad got hit.
Yeah, Chad Frankenfield. Let's take a look at this from the 15 car as we head back to the iRace Online replay.
To me, that's the same thing that's been happening all season long, it seems like, is we'll get a car that's just super impatient with a lapped car.
Ooh, a hard hit for Chad Frankenfield, in fact.
Yeah, that's big damage, I think. So, interestingly enough, 3 of our Chase Starch playoff drivers have run into damage, and they're, I think, the 3 that may end up going home. We'll have to see if this packing this field back up ends up changing the result later on. But for now, that's big. That's huge.
Yeah.
We're coming down pit road here, so that's another. Okay, everyone's coming down pit road.
Yeah. Everyone coming down pit road. Chad Frankenfield, though, 1 lap down, but he might not actually be in the lucky dog position.
That's right. He was involved in the wreck. So that takes away the lucky dog. That's happened to me before on iRacing.
Wow.
I got taken out at it must have been like Nashville or something. Lost it because me and another driver were battling for that first spot, and we made a little bit of contact. Gave me a 0x. Here's the battle for the pit road. I think it's Ethan Burrell over Tate Lytle.
We'll see. Well, I think they go to the cone, don't they? So it's...
then it's definitely Tate Lytle.
Yeah, unfortunately, I wish they did have it a little bit further forward where you do get the advantage of having that first pit box, but Tate Lytle does win that race off pit road. We don't have as much of a race off pit road, I suppose, once everyone has enough chance to get back up to speed there. Tyler Fode staying out.
Yep, Fode trying something here, and he had pitted, I think, the most recently of anybody else, so he's going to try his hand at, what is it, 7 or 8 lap tires?
I think they're about 13, but yeah, a couple laps under caution here, so yeah, that's a tall order from Tyler Fode. Again, he has nothing to lose here. No, he's coming down pit road. Interesting.
I think he was hoping other people would do it. I think he was hoping other people would stay out with him.
Ah, interesting. Yeah, that's probably.
And he might also have been checking to see if he needed to trap somebody a lap down, if he had someone in mind to keep out of the playoffs, like Chad Frankenfield.
Very fair.
And so if he needed to stay out to keep Chad a lap down, he would have done that, but Chad already pitted, so Chad's going to remain 1 lap down here. Fode goes ahead and gets tires on that car. The lead lap cars, looks like there's going to be 14 of them once we all roll things out. No, 13 of them, excuse me.
Yeah, Michael Goodman, the last car in the lead lap, and notable drivers trapped a lap down. Chad Frankenfield, Jared Rexing, Josh Adams, all trapped a lap down.
Yep, the 3-stop strategy really did not work for those guys. But big props to Corey Abbott, Michael Goodman, Jordan Owens, Caleb Thompson. They'll all be on the lead lap battling for a top 10 finish here. Definitely a good run for them. They picked the right strategy. Now it's a matter of, can you survive this race getting chaotic? I kind of talked about, what if this race gets chaotic late? If I'm Gerald Campbell or David Tooker, all I need to do is finish at the back end of this pack. I don't even want to be involved in this pack because it's probably going to elicit an accident. But Matthew Weeks is out there on old tires with damage. He had to take the wave around, so Weeks needs a caution in order to get caught back up. Gerald and Tooker are fine, and as long as they don't crash out of this race.
Well, this certainly shakes up the chase order. Do we actually have the chance to get an update here of what this chase picture looks like as we head towards this restart?
Oh yeah, we do. Let me. I had it updated before before the accident. So Adams is 19th. 18th.
Well, David.
I'll get it updated.
Yeah, while David gets that going, I did want to shout out as well Josh Robin, who's had a great run so far this race. Really been kind of silent as a whole, running in the 4th position. But yeah, fantastic run. He's had a bit of a quiet season. Other than that SMRI night race win, that fantastic win under the lights at Bristol. But he's been running really strong here tonight at Atlanta. Wanted to shout out that 8 car. Consistently been, I think, the 4th fastest car on this racetrack behind the top 3 that you see here, 1, 2, and 3. Lytle, Burrell, and Steinmiller.
The points are updated. Got them done. Gerald Campbell is ahead of Josh Adams. I didn't sort it. But that's your final 4 is there. Matthew Weeks needs a caution in order to make this back up. Chad Frankenfield also needs a caution, but he would also need to be the lucky dog and then also get all the way back to the front. So I think it's a battle between Tooker and Weeks and Campbell for that last spot.
All right, well, we'll see how this all plays out. Lap 136 of 163. Tick over to 137, and Tate Lytle leads the field over to turn number 1. Ethan Burrell gets in line with his teammate as they take the bottom line. Josh Robin going to lose a position, I think, here to Hank Steinmiller as well, as his teammate Gerald Campbell tries to work underneath as well. We've got, that is the green flag still back out. I thought that was the caution we had there for a second.
Now, Hank Steinmiller very, very fast on the short run on the start of the race. Does that 63 car have anything for this group? Yeah, it kind of looked a little loose there. It almost like he got on the apron. He's going to lose a spot to Robin and a spot to Tooker here, and Ethan Burrell took the lead at the start-finish line.
How about David Tooker? We talked about him struggling early in this race, but he's coming to life right when he needs to, and Tooker right now inside that Final 4, and what a story it would be if that 19 car makes it all the way to the Final 4 from where he was at Daytona before the chase began to where he is right now, running in the 4th position. Still a long way to go in this race, but David Tooker looking strong late here at Atlanta. Oh, into the grass, and
sideways!
Rich,
you're too strong.
Oh my gosh.
All right, he's okay.
He's kept it in
it's
the
okay as long as David Tooker is able to keep that thing in one piece ahead of Matthew Weeks. He's all right, and that right there is okay. He's okay to lose these 2 spots. He doesn't have to do anything but finish ahead of Matthew Weeks in order to make it into that Final 4. Gerald Campbell goes on by. Gerald having a wonderful day after winning a walk-off race at Talladega, in position in 5th place to go after another championship.
Ethan Burrell's taking the lead, by the way. We missed that on our screen, but yeah, Ethan Burrell back into the lead here. Certainly good on the short runs, but Josh Robin, look at him coming to attack Tate Lytle. Robin wants to put another win on his 2021A resume, and that 8 car looks strong right now.
Yeah, remember, this run is going to be pretty long, 37 laps. That's about the time that people were pitting for fresh tires during those longer green flag runs. So if you burn off your tires early in this run, you could be heading to the back and losing a number of spots to guys saving their stuff. I think if anybody's saving their stuff right now, it's probably not Josh Robin. He's up top, challenging Tate Lytle for 2nd.
Here we go. Robin looking on the outside. He's a nose ahead heading into turn 3. He's going to clear that 56 car, I think. And he's making that middle lane work here. Josh Robin, could he be a dark horse, win threat here? Again, like I said, we didn't talk about him much. Hank Steinmiller in the wall. And I think that's going to bring out our next caution of the night. And he does.
Caleb Thompson's out. Oh, man, a good run for Caleb Thompson comes to an end, gets caught up in that. I can't help but wonder if did Hank try to go to the top a little too quickly? I don't know. If this benefits anybody, it benefits Matthew Weeks the most, because he's going to be able to come down and finally get that damage on the right front fixed.
We'll head to the iRace Online replay and see what happened here between Hank Steinmiller and Caleb Thompson, or if it even was, it looks like Steinmiller trying to attack here, just gets high up into the wall, comes down on Jordan Owen. David Tooker involved in that. Yeah. David Tooker with some front left damage, or front right damage there. Man, oh man, that race all comes to a halt very quickly there. Let's take another look at that from Caleb Thompson's point of view coming into this wreck. I think for Thompson, he was kind of just an innocent bystander in terms of avoiding Hank Steinmiller's spinning 63 car. Take a look. There you see Hank a little bit up the road, and yeah, as Hank comes back up the racetrack.
Dodged by Josh Clark. What a dodge. We might have to go on board with Josh Clark there. That's an incredible piece of driving.
Let's take a look here one more time at the iRace Online replay. The onboard with the 28 car of Joshua Clark. Let's take a look. See the incident, that hit in the wall up front. Whew!
Oh, what a dodge.
Oh, he doesn't
No,
actually tap the wall just a little bit. Yeah,
Jordan Owen also did a fantastic job dodging through that wreck. He's going to be restarting up in the top 10.
So everyone brings their cars back down pit road once again. For Tyler Fode, that worked out all right for him. He maintained some of that track position that he had, I think. Obviously doesn't maintain the... Actually, I'm sorry, excuse me, Tyler Fode came down pit road, so I don't know what I'm saying here.
See if Burrell can get back out in the lead. He had a little bit of a gap back to Tate Lytle this time, and I think he is going to go ahead and grab the lead back.
He does get it. So
Lytle, Robin, Fode, the top 4.
Yeah, there we go. And Gerald Campbell rounding out that top 5. David Tooker keeps himself in the top 6 here, and Corey Abbott, how about that 7 car? Keeps things together, running in P7 right now in the number 7. Zach Evans
even keep
as well.
going back. Well, Zach Evans is going to have to go to the back. He's a lucky dog, but still an impressive run for Zach Evans. He was qualified 8th. He took his time to get up front. And then, yeah, Michael Goodman, 9th spot, dodged the wreck. He's been, rock solid all day long, rock solid all season long, working for a top 20 in points. Goody's been needing a good run, and he's getting one today. He's pretty good at Atlanta. Goody always surprises me when he runs Atlanta. He's beaten me a couple of times here, and just kind of took me by surprise a little bit on those races. I think there was a truck race here a couple years ago where he just drove away from me and into the top 10.
Yeah, great drive so far then from Michael Goodman. Jordan Owens, I think, will probably restart here inside the top 10, despite, I think, picking up a little bit of damage from that last incident. But everybody back to, back in line here. Hank Steinmiller takes that car off pit road there. And you can see the damage, but look at the gap back to the rest of this field here. Matthew Weeks with damage. Hank Steinmiller we saw had damage. Josh Adams right now kind of trapped.
On the lead lap.
Yeah, trying to get himself back on the lead lap here. Johnny Thomas as well. So a lot of guys right now trapped behind the pace car just trying to get that wave around.
Yep, Josh Adams, Johnny Thomas, Jared Rexinger all going to be on the lead lap. Chad Frankenfield still working on getting that damage fixed.
Yeah,
you got to wonder if that car might be worse for the wear than some of these other ones. Involved in these wrecks.
I believe at this point, I've been wrong before, and we've seen that jinx appear, but I believe Chad Frankenfield's chances of repeating his championship next week at Phoenix are over as of right now. At least that's the latest. It was probably a few laps ago when he first got involved in that incident.
We're kind of about to re-rack, I think, here for the restart.
Yeah, Ethan Burrell going to pick the inside line, I believe. We'll take a look. The wave round should get a chance.
The wave rounds haven't gone yet. There they go. Ethan taking the top lane.
Okay.
I think the top is kind of not how real Atlanta is. It seems like real Atlanta, the outside lane doesn't get any grip on the first go. But here it's going hard, and we've only got about 12 or 13 cars with fresh tires, so this is where the winner is going to come from. I think this group, unless another caution comes out, but we're getting down to it where it's going to take too long to make all those passes if you do happen to stay out. So the unlimited tire rule kind of coming into effect here, where guys would have been out of tires at this point had we had our normal tire rule on, and now they'll be able to come down pit road again if a caution comes out very quickly.
Absolutely. We're going to come to 17 laps to go in this race. Can Ethan Burrell hold on to finally break that slump? Can Tate Lytle grab another win here in this part-time season? Can Josh Robin play the upset? Grab a win. We'll bring all of that action to you here in the Elite Racing Network. Pace car about to peel off, and Ethan Burrell will lead this field back to the green flag. We also, of course, have the overarching story of who will be our final 4 in the championship. Ethan Burrell hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway. Green flag racing at the SMRI Atlanta 250. 17 laps to the checkers.
How badly is that David Tooker machine damaged is, I think, the biggest question. And can Matthew Weeks go get him? That's the battle. Oh, it's Robin sideways. Saves it. He'll keep going. The pink car in the back is the one we need to watch out for, and he's the one who's chasing down his teammate in the white and blue car. So Matthew Weeks versus David Tooker, those are the battles right now. If those two pass each other, if Weeks is able to get back past Tooker, that's the final spot in this points battle. Everyone else should be pretty much locked up. Adams is pretty much in. Campbell would have to wreck completely in order to be out. If Weeks is able to go around Tooker, that's the battle.
Yep, so here you go. David Tooker right now challenging with Tyler Fody and Gerald Campbell, trying to see if he can move his way forward, increase that buffer that he has over Matthew Weeks. Right now, 6 positions from Tooker to Weeks, but Weeks falling back a little bit. That damage still not fully repaired on the 11 car, and he's suffering right now unless he's able to get a nice pull from a teammate or someone to help him out here.
Trying everything. Remember, Tooker also has damage on the right front of that 19 car, so I don't think it's going to be too off for Weeks to be able to move through this field. He's just got to do it. Shoots down to the inside of Robin, trying to take him 3 wide here. Weeks doing everything he can to get back in this championship fight after a dreadful amount of laps early in this race. He's got to make moves, though. He's got to have help.
Yeah, just you can see there the pace simply isn't there on the 11 car on his own once that clean air comes out. But yeah, Matthew Weeks needs to find somebody to work with here to get himself back up the order. He might look to that 23 car of Harrison Talon. We saw the McDonald's car just a little bit further behind. That is, while that's a fueled up racing car, Harrison Talon does work very closely with Pro Edge Racing. So if Talon's willing to work with Matthew Weeks there, they could try to work their way forward through this field.
Yeah, all this, and Tate Lytle's running Ethan Burrell down now. So this battle for the lead starting to tighten up once again. Thought Ethan got out there, he would be able to drive away. Might just be saving his tires a little bit, trying to ensure that this group doesn't save up and get a big run on him here. But don't look now. Gerald Campbell going around David Tooker for 4th. Tooker goes back towards Weeks. That might be all Weeks needs is an opportunity to get around his teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. David Tooker being aggressive right now when he doesn't really need to be. We'll see if this pans out, though, for him. He's got the position that he needs to be in. Yeah, I mean, right now, though, how about the runs we're seeing from Michael Goodman and Corey Abbott right now, challenging one of the guys who's trying to get into the Final Four for legitimate position here.
For a top 5 run. These guys are going for it, too. And Weeks and Tooker are in the same pack now. I mean, that's the battle, and they're running very close together on the racetrack. This could get interesting, I think, still. Gerald way out in front of this group. And man, Clark almost gets sent by Josh Robin. Robin trying to get back through this pack to get up to the leaders. Clark almost cuts across Goodman's nose. Goody able to hold on to it. Seems like Tooker and Weeks separated by this whole pack. Weeks essentially needs for this pack to overtake Tooker and get him just in the dirty air. Tooker in clean air seems to be a little bit faster than Weeks is.
Yeah, just enough here. Matthew Weeks down 11th here at the back of this group right now as they're kind of shuffling. Unfortunately there for Michael Goodman and Corey Abbott, they're getting shuffled back as guys get to grips with the tires that they have underneath them, find their footing and find their pace here. They're falling a little bit back, so Matthew Weeks moves up to the 10th spot.
He's moving up. He's gone around Corey Abbott. He'll now try to get around Goodman on the outside. I wonder if Goody and Abbott maybe burned their tires up, realizing they were running up near the top 5, battling for it a little bit there. Love to see it, though, and Weeks does go around Goodman, so Weeks up to 9th. He's close, and he would need Robin to really pin Tooker back in order to have a chance at this win, or at this playoff berth in the Final Four. The win is the battle between these 3, Burrell, Lytle, Fody. Right now, and Fody has really come out of nowhere. That car has been well behind these other 2 for a large chunk of the race.
Yeah, no, it's been impressive late run charge here from Tyler Fody. Again, he came into this race saying that he wants to prove that barring that incident that he had with Jeff Green last season, he would have been fighting Chad Frankenfield for the championship. And well, we've got 2 of the Final 4 here from last year's championship fighting it out. Ethan Burrell versus Tyler Fody. So almost kind of a rematch here between at least 2 of those 4. Chad Frankenfield right now down the order. Ryan Lutt's not racing tonight. But seeing who can bring that car down to victory lane. And Tate Lytle never count out that 56 car, especially at a racetrack like this. That he's still looking very, very strong and can certainly play maybe a little bit of rear gunner to Ethan Burrell right now to make sure that it is Pro Edge who make it across the line 1-2. I'm sure Tate Lytle would like it to be the 56 over the 37.
Yep. Points update real quick. 3 points separate David Tooker and Matthew Weeks, and those are the 3 points. They are apart from each other on track. So, again, that remains the battle, and Josh Clark has moved in behind David Tooker now. So I wonder if he'll try to work with his teammate, but, I mean, the teammate chasing him, those guys are in the chat together. Whether or not Weeks can get Tooker, I think, is entirely up to Weeks. At this point, those guys do like to race amongst themselves when they get the chance to. I mean, we saw it with, Lytle and Weeks back at Mid-Ohio, working together, but ultimately racing to the line. A good solid day for both of them, but at this point, it's down to whether or not Weeks can catch Tooker, I think, because Josh Clark just went around his teammate.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated with that battle a little bit further back with the championship. And if we see any progressions there from Matthew Weeks working his way back up to David Tooker. As things stand, though, it is advantage David Tooker by some margin. Though, again, by some margin, I mean on track, in terms of track position, you can see just how tight that field is behind them. We're following this battle for the lead of this race, though, as we're coming up to 4 laps to go. Ethan Burrell over Tate Lytle over Tyler Fode. We'll see who can get the job done at Atlanta. One more race in this season after this. 2 of these guys not fighting it out for the championship. One of them already locked into the Final Four, so nobody really needing the win here today, but all of them still, I'm sure, just as hungry for it and willing to do whatever they can. As Tate Lytle up in the wall here as he runs high off of 2 and allows Tyler
Fode a chance. We've seen Fode willing to put the bumper to people to get in, though I think that now Tate is playing blocker for Tyler Fode and running him hard. That'll open it up for Ethan Burrell to win this race. Fode sideways off turn 4. And Lytle does trying to hold off for that second spot. I mean, this is tough here. At this point, these guys are not racing for anything in particular. And Lytle hugging Fode close. Now Fode not giving Lytle any room. And really not the best of decisions for either of these guys, I don't think, in terms of their race. They're inviting Gerald Campbell to come up and pass them.
Yeah, they certainly are, and they've allowed Ethan Burrell to kind of waltz away now with a 1-second lead just with that lap side by side. That's what that does to you. Tate Lytle does maintain second position as we go to 2 laps to go, and man, I hate to do it. No, I'm not going to do this yet until we see that white flag wave. Let's talk about Gerald Campbell. Gerald Campbell having a great run here in Q4.
After a walk-off win at Talladega, too, to get into this round of the playoffs, and Gerald Campbell has made the most of this playoff run. He'll fight for a championship next week.
Yeah, well, now.
Wait for him to take the flag. The caution can still come out.
David,
all right,
do you know the last time Ethan Burrell won an Elite JoinAPS Cup Series race?
I was not announcing. I likely might have ran in the race.
June 24th, 2020. It has almost been 1 year since the 37 car has been to victory lane. That's 2 seasons have gone by. He was winless in 2020B. Has been winless so far in 2021A. We thought he was going to be winless this season, but Ethan Burrell finally gets a W, gets it done. Ethan Burrell victorious at the SMRI Atlanta 250, finally back in victory lane. What a drive.
This is going to be a great interview here.
Oh, this is going to be a happy
Burrell.
top 3, I'm sure. Tate Lytle.
Well, I think we got Tate Lytle and Tyler Fode. I think we'll have 2 sides of the story. I'm really glad that the 2 of them are going to be able to interview here, because we'll hear one side and then the other for sure. But Tate bouncing it off of Ethan Burrell. This is going to be a very popular win, I think. Ethan's a really one of the best drivers, one of the best dudes who races in this league. He's a really, really pleasurable guy to talk to, and always very friendly. And you see just the respect from the competitors to go up and give him a congratulatory bump. And not always his teammates here. Corey Abbott's there. You know, he works with a lot of guys on this league too. He's helped Jordan Owens and Harrison Talon and all these guys who've worked with Ethan Burrell. He's given me a shot to race too, and been a good friend from this league. And it's awesome that Ethan Burrell's finally got himself a Cup Series win. It's been a really long time.
Yeah, it has been a long time, and Ethan Burrell, I mean, it's just like riding a bicycle, back to victory lane, gets the donuts. And again, he hasn't been, without victory in all 3 series, but to get it done here in the Cup Series where it's so competitive, where we have different winners every single week, to get this done, just fantastic drive here from Ethan Burrell, and in dominant fashion tonight. What a drive by this 37 car. What a way to get it done here, especially after the championship defeat last season at Atlanta, to come back here, grab the win, do it in such spectacular fashion. Congratulations, Ethan Burrell. I can't wait to have him up here in the broadcast booth with us. And of course, we do need to talk about the chase and what that Final Four looks like and what our preliminary results are. But here are the unofficial results from the Atlanta 250. Ethan Burrell, your winner, from Tate Lytle and Tyler Fode. Gerald Campbell, Josh Robin round out that top 5. David Tooker in P6, I believe, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, does enough to beat Matthew Weeks.
It's up. You can throw it. It's up.
There it is.
That's it. That's the final results. Wow. It'll be Tyler Fode, Josh Adams, Gerald Campbell, David Tooker. They were running like that for the large chunk of the second half of the race, but it was by no means guaranteed, especially after David Tooker was bounced off of in an incident, and Chad Frankenfield was trying that 3-stop strategy. In final conclusion there, it does end up with the kind of expected result, but not the straightforward route to get there. Weeks, Rexing, and Frankenfield all ran into trouble throughout the race.
We'll talk about the chase picture a little bit more, but right now, I had to pull him in here. Finally, Ethan Burrell, I asked David Westergreen this. Do you know the last time you put that 37 car in victory lane in the Cup Series?
Oh, man, you're right, Rich. Finally, boys. Talladega 2020, maybe 2019. I don't know, man. It
was June 24th, 2020. Talladega, I believe you're correct.
In the 98. I was in the 98 as an open entry for Levi Zielinski's team. Yeah, that was the last time.
And you're back in victory lane here just under a year later. It feels like it's been forever, man. Talk us through your emotions right now, getting the job done, and what an amazing fashion to be dominant all night.
Yeah, man. It has felt like so long. I've gotten some wins here and there in Xfinity cars, but just always eluded me in these Cup cars, and it feels awesome, man. You could tell. After taking the checkered, all those guys just swarming me. So many people were congratulating me for finally getting it done. But yeah, man, it was an awesome race. I love this track, and I did really good on the long runs. When Hank was leading, I was kind of following him, and then I ended up getting by him and kind of checking out. I think that says a lot, because Hank's one of the best guys out here on the long run. So that first run really set me up to be solid throughout the rest of the race.
Ethan, it's been since I've started broadcasting here for this league that you've won a race. So I'm just excited for you to finally get up here and get a dub. We've interviewed you so many times for second and third, and it kind of felt like there for a little bit that you were never going to win again. Just take us through the final couple of restarts there where you had the lead, you have the dominant car, you've got a teammate behind you. What are you thinking there? You got to feel like it's yours, right?
Yes and no. I was so upset that caution came out. The first caution we had, it was best case scenario. I was in second right behind Tate, but it was just me and him kind of checked out. And yeah, those restarts, I'm so thankful I had Tate up there with me, because I knew, if one of us was going to win the race, we would help each other out as much as we could once we knew that, we weren't going to be able to get it done. And I know he kind of got into the fence there on that very last run, and I was like, oh man, Tyler Fode, of all people, he's going to show up and he's going to take it from me somehow. And, I know Tate kind of battled him for a couple laps there, and it was just too late at that point. But yeah, man, just so thankful for having Tate up there. And, I'm usually good at short runs, so I know I had that strength and just had to execute right.
Now, Ethan, I hate to take away from obviously this great result, or look away a little bit from it, but talk to us about your feelings now as a team owner, watching as David Tooker, the guy who you backed out of this chase, you knew you weren't going to be able to make all the rounds here, that opened the door for David Tooker to just sneak in on points. He goes in, wins at Mid-Ohio, locks himself into this round. Now he's going to go and fight for a championship. As a team owner, how are you feeling there? This is must be just an overall great day for you as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, coming into this race, it was pretty gut-wrenching because I knew if nothing crazy happened, I knew one of my guys was going to be knocking out the other guy. So, I mean, that was a bummer, with Tooker and Weeks tied coming into this. And I mean, I think that speaks so much for David Tooker, though. I mean, he'll say it himself. I mean, he's had a horrible season, regular season, with being involved, getting stuck right in mid-pack, right where it gets a little messy, and just getting caught up in so many wrecks. And I mean, for him to take that chase spot and come from one of the low seeds out of the chase guys and putting it into the final four, I mean, just that itself is like a storybook scenario. So I think it's super cool, man. I'm glad I was able to show up here and just focus on trying to win. And I was trying not to think about those guys' point situations too much.
Yeah, Ethan. So congratulations again. And are there any shout outs you want to give here before we try to go get your teammate who looked like he was in a pretty tight battle there for second?
Yeah, shout out my grandma, my mom, my brother for always watching, my fiance Rachel and her family are in town. We're actually about to go out and have some margaritas, so what a way to go celebrate. And big shout out to my best friend Austin for sponsoring me this season. And I know I took off your colors, buddy. I'm sorry about that, but I had to run the Slick Monster scheme. And days gone by, SMRI Productions, and just all the guys at Pro Edge Racing. And biggest shout out for Michael Daniel Martinez. He was in our ear in the race. Well, in my ear in the race, and he was helping me strategize to try to beat Tate while Tate could hear him too. So a big shout out to him, and just shout out to you guys for putting on the show.
All right, man. Well, congratulations once again. Everybody loves to see you back here in Victory Lane. A very popular win. So go enjoy this one. Have some margaritas on us here at ERN.
All right, thank you guys.
Ethan Burrell back in Victory Lane. What a drive by him. We'll bring in our second place finisher then, Tate Lytle. Tate, you almost had it on that last restart, then did a great job fighting off Tyler Fody to snatch second place. Talk us through your night here. It's been an exceptional couple of races for you, kind of coming back from your part-time schedule, and really competitive with Ethan all the way up to the end there.
Yeah, he had me beat on strategy there probably the whole race. Lately, the undercut has been working fairly well, and I remember it worked really well for Chad here last year. So I was like, well, I'm 3 seconds back. Tires are basically equal, so I'll pit a little early and see what I can do. And I came out like 9 seconds ahead of him, and he caught me in no time. But, those last couple of restarts, me and him were just trying to work together to try and pull away. But by the time we kind of did pull away, the dirty air was just too tough, and Ethan wasn't going to make a mistake at that point. So tried running the high line to see if I could get a big run on him, and caught the fence with 2 or 3 to go. And at that point, it was just kind of defense for him, racing Fody. We had a good battle there for a second.
Yeah, Tate. So I was going to say, was there any maybe hard feelings between you and Fody there, right, running for second? Were you guys just going hard, racing hard for that win, knowing that Ethan was kind of just trundling?
No, I mean, at that point we both knew we lost, and I think Fody's he's already locked.
He's already locked.
Yeah, he's already locked, and I'm not even relevant in the championship standings. So at that point we were just throwing everything we could at each other. I was trying to make sure I gave him enough room though, because if I caused a caution with 2 to go, Ethan probably wouldn't have been real pleased with me.
Well, yeah, no, I absolutely. And I mean, talk to us from your end. Ethan was saying, he and Michael Daniel Martinez were kind of plotting against you over the course of this race, but from the other side of it, you've seen Ethan Burrell come so close, yet been so far from race victories in the past, in this past year. What's it been like, and what was the atmosphere like within the team to see that 37 car cross the line first?
I mean, I always love seeing Ethan win, even when I am the first loser to him. But it was kind of weird because him and Dan were in our same Discord plotting against me, and I'm like, how often do you have the enemy's crew chief talking in your ear too? So I was like, I PM'd Weeks. I was like, I'm pitting this lap. Don't tell anybody. And yeah, Dan was pretty quick to say, all right, Tate pitted. And I was like, gosh, come on, Dan, throw me one bone here. But no, it was fun. I mean, I kind of owed Ethan one. I kind of sniped one from him here in Erskine with some pit stops, and then stole that one from him on Monday. A little bit of contact there with 2 or 3 to go. So he definitely deserved it, and I was pretty pumped to see him win. And I mean, if anyone's going to get second to him, I don't mind. But it's been a good couple of races. We won at Auto Club, got second on the dirt, and then second again here tonight. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going.
Awesome, Tay. Well, you got any shout outs you want to give here as your season kind of gets ready to wrap up to a close? I mean, you've been really strong in these cars, so I know you're looking forward to being able to run as much as you can coming forward. I mean, think about your first, second in your last 3 races.
Yeah, not too bad. But yeah, shout outs. Obviously, Brent, days gone by. He one of the coolest guys. I mean, he's worked for some of the biggest names, Ray Hall, Penske, you name it, and he's still just the most coolest guy to know. And he's done a lot for me. So go check out his Twitter page, Instagram page. He's got a nice Etsy store. It's got a lot of cool merch on it for pretty fair prices for what you could get it on eBay. And Ethan for winning the race and running the team, and Chad for running the league, you guys for doing what you guys do, and Rucker for giving us 1 caution a race.
All right, Tate. Congratulations, P2 here, man. Hope we get the chance to see you next week and see you back in Elite. I keep saying it every time we have you up here because it's pretty frequent now.
Yeah, hopefully I can keep come talk to you guys. I always like talking to you guys.
All right. Congratulations again, Tate.
Thanks. Later.
All right. With that, we'll bring in our 3rd place finisher and first of our final 4 confirmed. Obviously has been confirmed for a couple of weeks now, but Tyler Fode, P3 at the end there, kind of had to come back as the strategy maybe went away from you a little bit. But came back to finish P3. A great battle there with Tate Lytle. Talk us through your thoughts here. Long race at Atlanta.
Yeah, that's for sure. A real long race. And honestly, pretty terrible all race long. I don't know how we got in that position, but I'll take it. I guess I picked up damage somewhere along the lines that first run, like 20 seconds worth. And we're just limping the entire green flag run. I was trying to stay out as late as possible, catch a yellow, but finally happened there in the end. We got it all fixed up. Drove up to the top 5. Some more stuff happened. We got to 3rd, and that was about all I could manage. I mean, I was only up there with Ethan and Tate because of the draft. But props to them. I mean, they ran a perfect race. I think 1-2 almost the entire night. Happy for Ethan to finally end the drought there. And battling with Tate, I mean, I was trying to push him as much as I could to get up there with Ethan. And he caught the wall, and we got side by side, and we touched a good couple of times there. I'm surprised we didn't wipe it out, but no, it was fun racing with him, and I'll take the 3rd.
Tyler, I love how you can, pretty consistently race people really hard and end up coming out with everyone coming out all excited to have run so good. What does it mean to you to be able to run for your 2nd championship in a row? And, do you think you're actually going to be able to knock it out of the park this year and take it home?
Well, that's the plan. Whether or not that happens, I don't know. Phoenix was pretty good in Xfinity cars. I don't know how it's going to play out with these Cup cars. But anything can happen. We got the other 3 are pretty good. They're just as deserving to be here, so it should be a good race. But hoping to come out on top of that.
All right. Well, then, Tyler, we want to give you a chance to make a couple of shout-outs here on the air before we let you go.
All the sponsors, Blue Egg Marketing, Days Gone By, you guys for putting it on tonight, and Hank for running with me. He was really good tonight too, and just ran into some unfortunate stuff in the end there. But all in all, we'll be trying to go get it next week.
All right, one of our championship contenders, Tyler Fode, P3 tonight. Best of luck next week, man, and have a good one. All right.
We'll grab all we'll grab all three of our championship contenders here one by one and just ask them, what they thought about the season before now and whether or not they think they're going to win next week.
Absolutely. Let's bring in first. We'll grab Gerald Campbell here. Gerald finished P4 in tonight's race, and Gerald, as far as we can tell, you're in the final four. That's at least what our points projections show, and I think there's enough of a buffer that even if we made a couple of mistakes here and there, that's the case. So first of all, congratulations, man, going from missing the chase completely last year to making it to the final four, fighting for a championship once again. What are your emotions right now? Talk us through what you're feeling.
I told you guys, once I got past that first round, that was what I was worried about. As soon as I won Daytona, I told you they were going to regret let me make it into the next round. And we just hunkered down and just ran strong racing. The last three races for this final little bit, we got 4th, 5th, and 6th. So just I knew what I had to do. I had to be out there, I had to be consistent, and I had to be aggressive, which is what this team is about. And I'm excited to go to the next round because the aggression's going to amp up. And who knows? It's on those last races, for the championship. There's no favorites. It's going to go into it, and everyone's going to be top of their game going into it. So I knew I needed to just avoid the wrecks, which seemed to be all around me. it just seemed to want to find me. But I had kept a clean car, and I just knew I needed to be where I needed to be, and that's how I ran tonight. It's just be aggressive and be up front. So I'm happy.
Gerald, from miracle win to the final four, what do you think your chances are next week? You going to take it home?
Yeah. I'm excited. We're going to Phoenix, which is a flat track, and I feel like I do a lot better at those types of tracks. And just gonna do what I've done all year long. Like I said last year, I changed up how I was driving, and I realized it wasn't for me. I was trying to be too mellow, too forgiving, and let people go by and worry about this and worry about that. And then I quickly realized after having just a horrible season last year that that's just not for me. My strategy is to go out, just make it a living hell for someone to try to get around, and just be strong. Just run as hard as I can, be the hardest person to pass, be the person that just does everything he can every single lap. So that's how I'm going to go into the next race. Where it puts me, who knows? Winning is my goal. Not winning the championship, winning the race. Gonna go in there thinking that if I win that race, I win the championship. So that's my goal, is to go into Phoenix and just, like I said, make them really, really, really regret Daytona at that point, because I think they unleashed the beast once I got into that next round. So just gonna go into the next one and just see what we got.
All right, man. Well, great job making it this far, and lots to look out for with you at Phoenix. Best luck next week.
Thank you, guys, and thanks to the Diecast dude, finally showing some potential and showing his sponsorship up front. Last season, I felt bad first season with him, and he didn't get anything as far as his value, and I feel like he's gotten a little bit of his value back with me being up front. And thanks to my new team, same team, new name, Aggressive Eagle Esports, and thanks to my teammates. And yeah, thank you guys. Can't wait.
All right, Gerald Campbell there, 4th place tonight. One of your championship four. We spoke to Tyler Fody already. We'll talk to the guy next who came in with the biggest points buffer. A little bit of a rough night for Josh Adams, but he leaves with a shot to race for a championship. Josh, talk us just quickly through the night you had tonight. Was there ever a point where you got a little bit nervous about your position? You did come in with a pretty solid buffer.
Not really. I knew I threw away a shot at a decent finish when I missed the entry to pit road, that last green flag stop that put us in position for something catastrophic to potentially happen. But I was pretty confident I had enough points.
Yeah, Josh, looking forward to Phoenix, man. You're in there. It's kind of been a foregone conclusion, like you said, but what do you think your chances are? And if it comes down to it with Tyler Fode, you were paying him for New Hampshire?
We'll see. I don't think I needed you to remind me, but doing that, you never know if it comes down to it. Me and him get along pretty good. We'll race each other hard. It'll be fair. He knows that I potentially owe him one, but we'll see how it goes. Gotta get to the end of that race.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, we don't want to keep you here for too long, but big congratulations on making it to this Final Four, and best of luck, obviously, next week when you get a chance to race for a championship.
Yep, thank you. And I haven't gotten a chance to do this, but shout out Country Cozy. I haven't had a good finish since they came on board my race car, so shout out to them.
Absolutely. Great job here, man. And we'll talk to you and see from you next week.
Thank
you. All right, that leaves just one more driver from our Final Four to speak with here. We'll bring him in here from out of the chase at Daytona to the Final Four. David Tooker, man, what a journey it's been throughout these past couple of weeks, and you're going to go fight for a championship. Talk us through what you're feeling right now.
Hey, Rish, I can hear you again. I think Phoenix we've had really good pace at, especially in the Xfinity cars. So, I'm from Phoenix. We were battling for a win, almost going for the lead, and just hard racing got us at the end. But I think the speed will definitely carry over. I think competition's definitely going to be the biggest factor there. Just how these cars are. With how these cars are, our packs are so close. Like, even if you saw in today's race, it felt like the speed groups were just so close that you almost couldn't make up any time. But I think it's going to come down to driver skill, obviously, for sure, considering we're running a lower downforce package than mile and a half. So I think it's definitely going to be a driver's race, but also who can get the most out of their car at any stage in the race.
Tooker, did you kind of have a little bit of a fright there when you bounced off of the spinning car? I think it might have been the Hank Steinmiller, Caleb Thompson car in that one wreck on the front straightaway. Did you get a little nervous that your teammate was going to be able to catch you?
Oh yeah, 100%. I really I shot to the bottom to try to miss Hank, but when a car's backwards in the middle of the tri-oval and we're going 175, 180 miles an hour, there's not really much room for error and where you can go. So I think I've definitely minimized the damage I could have got there. But, at the end of the race, I was definitely going 110%, especially where I was at. Because, Weeks was just a couple cars behind me. So all it took was a mistake from my side, and he would have been right there, maybe even past me, and would be doing this interview right now. But that's just not how the circumstances worked out. But, I think we've had a lot of bad luck this season that really put us outside looking in, and just how my circumstances fell. I was the next in line to get this call up. And I want to say that I've definitely gotten the most out of it. And I think with the shot next week at Phoenix, that kind of sums it up for me, is how well we performed in this playoff bracket, and just how we need to keep the speed up. And I think with this last race at Phoenix, one of my better short tracks, or at least I consider it a short track, feels like. But I think that's definitely one of our best chances for sure.
All right, David. Want to thank you for coming up to join us here in the booth, and congratulate you again on making it to the Final Four. What a run it's been.
All righty, thank you, boys.
All right, David Tooker then. The last of our Final Four in the championship, and there you see them again on the left-hand side of your screen. Tyler Fode, Josh Adams, Gerald Campbell, David Tooker will duke it out in the desert to decide who will be the 2021 JoinAPS Cup Series champion here in the Elite Racing Leagues. I, for one, cannot wait to watch the show. I know I will not be there in the booth, unfortunately, next week. David Westergreen, you'll be taking over the action there, and we'll figure out who else is joining you for that event. But, man, I cannot wait to tune in next week and to see all of that action.
It's going to be a wild one. I'm I'm ready for it. It's Phoenix is the kind of track that can provide some long green runs, but can also be really tight and create some of that late race action that we saw today. Should be a wild one, and Tyler Fode's going for a double, 2 championships, Xfinity and Cup Series, so he's going to have to divide his focus, whereas the rest of these guys are all going to be sorting things out amongst themselves during the week, and so it should be a good one, and I'm interested. It's going to be a compelling battle. The last time Gerald Campbell was in the championship he won the championship, so worth noting that happened. But these 4 guys are really deserving and have been all season long, and should be a great run.
I'd say we got 4 favorites for the championship here is the best way to put it, and the most realistic way to put it. Everyone's done a fantastic job up to this point. Again, we'll have a very deserving champion at the end of next week. But for me, I for one have enjoyed every second of calling this season. I've enjoyed, taking over this Cup Series. These broadcasts, enjoyed them, doing them with you, David. Can't wait for the next time we get to work together in the booth. And with that, that is everything here from the SMRI Atlanta 250. I've been Rishav Khosla, joined by David Westergreen. Thank you all so much for watching. And David, we'll see you all next week. I will see you guys next season.